This episode of RPMMO to you by all our amazing and generous Patreon donors. Visit us at patreon.com/RPMMO radio to help support the show. It is also brought to you by
Are you tired? Bored? Tired of being bored? Does that creative thing you used to love no longer seem to be fun, creative, nor loved? Has the utter lack of even a halfway decent MMORPG releasing in several years got you down? Well, good news! We can fix you and have you enjoying things once again at Little Chord's Lab-otomy. Our patented procedure can have you smiling at the things you loved as you rediscover them for the first time. The procedure is quick, easy, and rarely even fatal. A tiny hammer, an ice chisel, and expert guesswork will take away your previous and now annoying memories and make the world new again. Just listen to the testimony of this success story. Who am I again? Wow, so powerful! Little Chord's Lab-otomy, the best science gnomes have made up at your disposal. Results may vary. Not responsible for loss of family, friends, beloved pets, loss of self-identity, and where you parked your car. Minor brain hemorrhages may occur. Consult a real doctor if persisting more than 3 weeks.
You're listening to RPMMO Radio,
Does internet porn know you're cheating on it?
where entertainment and roleplay in MMORPGs have little hybrid mutant babies.
Make a note of this. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your whole family.
And now, here's your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Civ, Jazz, Strafe, and Yunfei.
Everybody f***ed off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello, role players! Welcome to RP MMO Radio, episode 90, After Burnout. I, of course, am Ashen Phoenix, and with me today is the crew, Jazz, Sib, Strafe, and Yunfei, and also Rahanar, our call screener. If you do want to call in the show, remember, go to rpmradio.com/Discord. You can call in, talk to us, tell us what's wrong with you. Social security number, bank accounts, anything you want to give away on air that almost nobody else will hear. We're here.
We might even help or hinder you. One can never tell.
Though odds are much more favorably on one than the other.
I mean,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah. Also, go ahead and follow us if you're not listening live. If you ever want to, we do it almost every Saturday, except for usually the last weekend of the month at 7 Central Time over at twitch.tv/RPMMO Radio. How's everybody, I mean, I guess if I care, doing?
all doing well.
Excuse me.
it's been an interesting week. But I'm here, and I'm smiling, because I don't use Brand X. Love that Joker.
Thumbs up, boss.
One of these two, what was that? Two of the things in that movie can kill you. Tune in at 11 to find out.
That's right.
Oh, well, that's grand. It's great. It's wonderful. It's fantastic.
You're sounding a bit burnt out, boss.
Okay, so I was driving with Yunfei. Taking her somewhere, and we were driving back, and we got hit by one of these nasty storms here in Oklahoma, like real bad. It was real ugly, flooded everything almost instantly because there's the scientific level of super saturation in the soil, and we have somehow gone to Super Saiyan saturation in the soil. So literally, if somebody pee, it floods out an entire neighborhood at this point. So
How
we were,
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
yeah. And as we were driving back, I saw something that just annoyed the shit out of me. And it wasn't one person, and she can back me up. Multiple people were putting on their hazard lights.
Yep.
Oh, that's common.
We get
Welcome
it.
to Houston, level derp.
Yeah, we get it. Yeah, we can all see it's raining. We can all see it's kind of getting floody. Guess what we can't see? If you're turning right now because your emergency hazard lights are on, jackass.
Yeah.
So she got to
That's
hear me
standard.
rant for about 10 minutes on the way back because it took twice as long with the stupid rain, but that did not do me any favors. So if
That's
you're
standard
ever...
fare down here, boss.
Yeah, it's what the hell is that? Is that something I've never... I'm not out in that. It just...
In Iowa, that's the law.
That everybody has to turn their emergency flashers on when they're just
If you
driving?
slow down due to any kind of environmental change, if you slow down past the speed limit, then you have
Everyone
to
was
turn on your
slowed down
hazards.
because it was impossible. It's completely...
I'm just saying that
I
in
know.
Iowa, it's the law. Everyone is supposed to do it. If you are like, if the flood, first of all, don't drive in flooded
Well,
areas.
it wasn't
but-
flooded where we were, but it was it
Oh.
was just super rainy and very floody-like, but...
Yeah. But when I'm driving along the interstate and it starts pouring and everybody slows down to the pour, like snowing, whichever one.
Right.
It's both ways.
Same
here.
difference.
And you can no longer see very well. And so you slow down to
Right.
like 30, 40 miles an
Yeah,
hour.
which
Everyone
everybody
puts on their hazards.
was.
Everybody gets their hazards on and you slow the fuck down because there's always that one asshole who's going to come barreling along behind you and for
Oddly
whatever
enough,
reason
usually in
doesn't
a-
see your brakes, but he does see the flashes and then he'll get over and end up in the ditch and then we all carry on.
Or like the guy I saw down in the Florida that was going through the floodwaters, and apparently I guess it was a bridge, and then he slowly drifted off where the bridge was, and then all of a sudden you see that, which, have you ever noticed they're giant tired trucks usually that tend to drive like that? And then him and that F-250, I think it was, just take a complete nosedive and stops bobbing like a cork.
That's what he gets for driving a Ford. Problem circle activate.
It's got
man.
nothing to do with that. It's walk. Please, for the love of God, will people please stay out of the water
Flooded
when
water.
it's flooding? For
Yeah.
Well, it sure
crying
didn't
out
help things,
loud.
I'll tell you what.
Nope.
I got a Ford that's lifted. We can do it. No, son. No, you can't.
Because actually, and that's the funny part. I've always thought this was hilarious. People that are up high that have jacked up their trucks
Mhm.
are the first ones to go
Oh,
off
yeah.
the road because the water sweeps. The only thing between there's higher level of center of gravity, so they get moved faster.
Mm-hmm.
It's
But no,
hilarious.
Jazz, they're higher. That way they ride above the water. I'm just going
Yeah.
with what I assume.
Well, I mean, it
is the
probably
logic
works
here.
for theoretically keeping your engine above the water, but
That's-
the force of the water, if it's moving at all,
See, they don't
yeah.
take into account,
Bah.
they don't take into account the force of that water flowing. You're right. Most of the time, those things are built to go off road and mudding. So they're thinking, "Oh, I've done this before," but they don't
Yeah. I
take
can
into
go
consideration the
mud.
current of the flood, and that's the problem.
Wait, are you saying that mud doesn't have a current? That just
Yeah,
doesn't sound like
maybe.
science to me. I've never heard of. I saw that one video in like Bolivia where like a whole mountain moved. Yeah, it's Vidia. I've been in Oklahoma for
Vidia.
a while. It's
People
also
don't understand that four-wheel drive doesn't help with water either.
no,
Yeah, just don't drive in hot water, folks. Seriously.
no, don't. Like seriously. And if you do, you get exactly what you deserve.
Yeah.
And I mean that in every sense of the way. Your
So
insurance
those guys
going
had their hazards
up.
on.
Yeah,
Did you
it's
ever
just
finish that story?
it aggravated the hell out of me.
Oh, okay.
Because then
That's
you
actually
know,
the law in New York too.
see, that's not a law here. That's just being a dumbass. Because then they're like,
I'm
oh,
scared. They
I'm
turned the
gonna
hazards on.
I'm going to change lanes. Oh, if only there was a way to know that you were signaling that. Nope, you're just going to cut right in front of me. Oh, okay.
The idea is that because you are slowed down to a point where you are
hazard.
just going so slow, you're a hazard.
Everybody
Yep.
was a hazard. When literally the 1,000 people on the roadway in front of me, they're all the hazard.
Like
the-
in Iowa, it's technically the law that if you have more than two people turning left, everyone behind that car is supposed to have the left-hand turn signal on.
This
Okay,
has been the
there's no
flooding
way in-
hour on
There's
RP
no way in hell
Memo
that would
Radio.
ever happen.
Well, it does actually. In like
Not
the other
here.
day, it happened.
Ooh.
It must have been just a line of old people who remember that.
They
old rule.
remember the law.
But
Yeah.
they were all had their turn signal on, and the guy in my car was like, "What the hell?" And I was like, "Oh, it's because the guy up front is turning."
It's synchronized blinking.
Yeah, so they
Dun,
all
dun,
blink
dun, dun,
so that you
dun.
can notice it better. It's an old law, and they've never removed it, so a lot of people do that.
Huh.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's just
that was
dumb.
fun.
So anyway. So roleplay. Thanks for tuning in for the roleplay car hour. So if you're ever roleplaying being in a car in a game,
In a
don't turn
flood.
your hazards on during like heavy downpours. That's what I'm saying. That's really what that was about. Is so if you're playing APB or something like that, don't and you're driving.
Safety
don't do
first
that.
in our roleplay communities, folks.
Yes. So all right. Well. I guess there's been some actual roleplay this week.
There has.
I don't know. Should we go into it? I mean, was anything happen that was even worth talking about? I mean, other than everything I did, that obviously I'll get to that because that's amazing.
We should probably ask Jazz for an update.
You know, I think you're right. I think we should probably just Jazz. What do you think? Should we go into it? And if so, who should we start with?
She ain't going for it, boss.
Oh, I got all day.
You got all day?
Mm-hmm. I can sit here in silence because I can edit it out later, so the people on the podcast will have no idea.
Good to know.
I'll still win because you'll be like, as far as they're concerned, I'll ask the question like a quarter second later. You'll be like, okay, here's what I did, even if it was an hour and a half between the two.
That was a really short show.
So what'd you do in roleplay, Jazz? Who's not any
Well,
fun?
I did a lot of roleplay, a lot of singular roleplay in various games. I did both ESO and Tor. I'm still working on my Cial event in ESO. The Find Cial. Where the hell is Cial? Kind of where's Waldo? But
Where
in
the world is Cial San Diego?
Yeah.
That's what popped into my head.
Yeah, that's me too. Yeah.
Carmen San Diego.
So that's one thing that we did. And in Tor, we've been doing a lot of development for training apprentices and things like that. It's laid back, but it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah, kind of slow burn.
Yeah.
Neat.
So I do have a journal to read.
Is this the
And I will
controversial
do
one?
that in place of anything else. Let's see. This is entry. Well, actually, before I read this, I should put in a disclaimer. Rip is not a nice person. At all.
Was this the one you were worried you were kind of
Yes.
like, is it snarky? You know what? It's the character. You don't have to
I
explain it. You don't have
understand,
to
but I
explain
don't
it.
want people to get mad. You can ask. Well, no, you can't ask because, well, you remember, Kariv's journals
I
cause
know.
problems.
Well,
She's not nice, and she says things to people just like Vaca, and then
was
turns
gonna say-
around and says, "No, I don't have a problem. Why do you think that?"
Because I was reading your journeys and you metagaming. That's why.
Yeah. So
just
I want
read it, you're
to
fine.
preface reading this.
Wait,
with
unless it's
she
about
is-
my character, in which case I will be very upset and take it personally.
Okay. So I just want everybody to understand she's not a nice person.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is this is totally Jazz's actual opinion, and she's doing it through her character. All right, go ahead, Jazz.
Okay, thanks. This is actually entry 9. I'm going to skip entry 8 and I'm going to do entry 9 so I get caught up because it's really hard for me to remember.
Is it juicy?
Sort of.
Ooh, steak.
Juiciness.
Okay.
No.
Begin video entry. The screen jumps to life, showing the recording from a distance up, watching Arthzel and Kariv sparring. Over and over, he leaps into an attack or jabs and is thwarted and pushed away, tumbling in the sand. His body language shows he's getting angry, and his attacks are less and less precise. Kariv remains calm and rebuffs his attacks, moving smoothly. The camera zooms closer for a moment, and his angry voice can be heard. Damn it! And he punches the sand and arches his head back in the sand, gleaming with sweat on his bare torso covered in sand as she stands and waits. His eyes close, and he meditates, breathing deeply to calm his rage. She waits, watching, eyes pleased. Finally, he rises and faces her, resolute. In a smooth move, he attacks, feinting to the left and then swinging sharp and right. She blocks and uses her foot to kick at his hip, tumbling him backward and to the side, but he rolls to his feet. Anger flares in his eyes, but he controls it, breathes, and then speaks sharply, but with focus. Why doesn't this work? It worked before. Kriv nodded and smiled patiently. I am expecting it, and you are still telling me your moves. He grumbled, then stay out of my head. She chuckles and circles him, amusement on her gleaming face, sand and sweat flecked on her. Not in your mind, Arthasel, in your eyes. Now try again. Her voice is playful, and he grumbles, moving to the left too. Without warning, he launches and spins, the sword aiming for her side. She holds up her hand and repels him, and he tumbles away, landing hard with a grunt of annoyance. I think that's enough today, she says it quietly, and he rolls to his feet, exclaiming, I am not done. She gives him a dark look and chuckles with a patient smile. Do not vex me, Arthasel. Give yourself a rest. We'll work again in an hour. And she turns and walks off. His grimace tells the camera he realizes his error at his demand and watches her go, fighting annoyance as he catches his breath. Glares to the camera and waves a hand. The machine flies hard to the ground and the recording snaps off. End video entry. Begin video entry. Kriv sits on a chair in her private quarters, damp and skin-oiled, wearing undergarments alone. She has her feet on the edge of the table, knees bent, and is oiling her Leiku idly as she watches the camera to see if it works. Well, there we go. Got the new one formatted and it's working. This one has a crash dampener on it and shouldn't shatter as easily as the last two. She smirks and nods and works on her arms with the red-tinted oil. I gave a copy of the recording to Arthasel to study, to see his moves and expressions, to understand what I am reading when we are sparring. Like most new to sparring, he still telegraphs more than he should, particularly with the force itself, which he can't see, but seems to understand he's still doing. She pauses in the oiling to lean her head back against the headrest and ponder the artwork above her table where she works. A few interesting developments. She sighs and resumes her oil rubbing into her skin, moving from her arms to her knees after finishing. Ikas and I have a date, but he told me that he's been seeing Kensa, and she's gotten demonstrative and a bit nasty towards me, to him, in the process. That she's force-sensitive suddenly, and more powerful than I must be aware. Poor thing. Kriv looks amused as she works on her knees and legs. She was fuming when I arrived, and fuming after Ikas returned with the chat with me, flouncing about and stomping off, assuming we would follow, I suppose. She came back and deposited herself in his lap, feigning being drunk. It's amusing, honestly. One, that she thinks that sort of behavior will make me care, and two, that her obvious this is mine ownership behavior means anything to me. Poor thing will get a rude awakening soon enough, I suppose, and until then, perhaps I will leave her to her delusions of romance. I have little time for nonsense. He's going to train her. I didn't tell him, better you than me. I already have 2 females that don't show up for training, hardly at all. I've no use for more. Certainly not for a girl who can't make up her mind who she is, what she wants, or what she wants from me. Kriv pauses and chuckles, shifting her gaze to a readout on the datapad near her. She flicks at something with one toe and then resumes her oiling. At least the girls training with me have some honest potential. Kriv shakes her head and looks cross for a moment as her mind wanders to something. After a long moment, her mind resumes her oiling duties and she remembers the recording. I have never understood this need to compete with me. Ever. I am not a threat. If Ikas wants her, he will have her. If he wants to only be with her, he'll tell me, and I don't chase anyone. So if he's taken, that's that. She can have her toy. For as long as he tolerates her histrionics, of course. She adds oil to her hands from the nearby bottle and resumes rubbing. I have never understood the word slut and why it's insulting. Horror I get. People look down on those that use sex for credits. For some reason. But slut is just a girl who likes sex and is unusually good at it. Why is that a bad thing? And for that matter, why do males not earn the same title? Feh. People are dumb. She smirks and shrugs and adds more oil. I am told that my lack of proper socialization in my childhood has made me clueless in the ways of social etiquette, and I suppose that maybe that is correct. Honestly, I simply don't care to learn. It's all foolishness, to be truthful. Insecure males and females who throw around disparaging remarks about who does and who doesn't like sex with one or the other. I've been called much worse. I suppose being called a whore or a slut isn't the worst of it. Maybe that's why it amuses me so much. She works on her toes, rubbing oil on and in between every one. The whole point of sex is to be enjoyed. People need a hobby. She laughs at her own play on words and falls quiet for a moment, working on her toes. I'm still struggling with the idea of the person who ruined my standing and permanently marked my record as a traitor, that she's still alive and soon within my grasp. Xanatos brought it to my attention, and honestly, I'm unsure what to feel. It's long in the past. I don't care much anymore what people think. I have more credits than I'll ever spend, a solid business that nearly runs itself, with some pokes and prods from Kenrick and myself, and relationships that make me happy. Is there anything else that matters? She looks thoughtful as she takes the trimmer and trims her nails on her toes. I like Ikas. He will be a good friend, if nothing else. Pretty sure he's a Jedi, or a former Jedi. That brief glimpse into his mind showed far too much peace to be anything else. I really, really want to have sex with him, for many reasons, the least of which is the idea that I've never laid with one of my own kind. She pauses, thinking about that. Is that strange? I wonder. I wonder what it will be like. Will it be the same? And of course, I'm not actually Twi'lek, but, well, not really. But I look twee, and I have the nervous system of a twee. That counts, right? She looks thoughtful and resumes trimming her toenails. I should ask Raish what he thinks. He's always honest with me. He and I make two pieces of the same person, really. Two halves to a whole. Maybe that's why we work. We're both so criffed up that we fit into each other's holes. Ha! Ha ha! That's a funny one. She snickers at her naughty phrasing. It's time for me to get back to work. Or later. She opens her palm and the camera turns off as it comes to her grip. In video recording. The end.
Okay, just making sure.
The end!
So a little snarky, and I apologize for that.
Yeah, okay,
But-
so we already got one complaint. Kishmas in the chat says he completely takes it personally and that you're a complete bitch.
He didn't say that. You're bad.
It made you look good, didn't it? He actually did say, I'd like to complain about the sass, but Kishmas is not. He knows. He knows the difference.
Yes, he does.
Or does he? I guess we'll find
Or
out.
does he?
Yeah.
Find out at 9.
Tune
and
in
we're
for all the
live.
juicy details soon. Yeah. But yeah, well, that's good. And I did actually. So, and I'll go since it goes with Jazz was there. So, I actually did run a little roleplay thing with used the flashpoint to do it and came up with the off the top of our heads with that person that got Jazz's character all like traitored and tried to ruin her life and kill her, I guess.
Yeah.
Little things, little. And since I guess the character had gotten all the ones she knew of, I thought, well, just playing off the top of it, maybe there was somebody above them that was really, really good at hiding. He got a thing of it and a hint of them, but the only place to get it would be a data file that wasn't connected to any network, so obviously it couldn't be spliced into. I always get my I know so many sci-fi things. I keep getting I forget my hacking terms for each one. And splicer, that's what they called it. And then I had splicers from BioShock, which was also genetically spliced. So anyway, ADHD. But the only place to get it from would be a server or a computer console that's not connected to anything under lock and key and safeguard. So I was like, well, it'd be fun maybe to use one of the flashpoints so that everything we killed in the flashpoint would be, it's literally, I wouldn't have to roleplay NPCs.
You wouldn't have to roll for it. We would just
Right.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then because I've seen people, we've tried it before, and you guys can all back me up, and when they try it, they end up like, oh yeah, we're going to roleplay through a dungeon or this or that, and then you get into it, and from, like, they do one roleplay line at the beginning, and then we just tear through it, and then at the end it's like, well, that was successful. It's like, yeah, it wasn't really roleplaying our way through, it was just doing a dungeon run. Which is fine and all, but we did. I think went pretty well. Everyone role played. We would stop after every or I guess it would be mini boss. Every mini boss we would roll and see, if we actually took damage and, how we got out of the fight. So it wasn't just the part where we did. I mean, except for poor Kishmas. Was it Kishmas or Ericus that got locked out of it? Like, we had jumped in and it started, but he was still on the other side of the of the force field at the first one.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, not again. It was a story. It was on story mission. It wasn't meant to be like we're doing it for the level of the challenge. It was literally on the easiest setting that you could do with one person, but with 4. So it wasn't difficult. But I had a good time with it. It was fun, and we played along kind of with the story itself. At least what happened in the story. What was actually going on was I don't even remember. Genetic experiments, or I think it was creating cyborgs or something, and we incorporated a bit of that, and then the exploding the little underwater base so that, just as the story in the game had us escaping, we just did that with our characters escaping as well through the sub.
It went well, I thought.
I thought so too. And of course, since, Jazz, you only play it so many days out of the week, it kind of gives a nice break. Like, well, they were having to decode the information they got to find out who it was.
Yep.
Gives it a nice break, so the next time I see it, we can be like, all right, we know it's Darth. I don't know, whatever the name is. I haven't gone that far. I mean, I don't plan these things out. Are you kidding? I have no idea. No idea. But no, it was fun. I think the only problem with it was, and this was what I hated, was that it could only be 4 people.
4 people, and I really wish we could bring more people, and that's why I don't think we're going to be able to do it very much.
No, it's,
because 4 people's too small. We had 6 people that wanted to come. And
yeah, we had 2 extras that wanted, well, one, they said they wanted to, but they didn't even show up, like, until long after it was over. So, but there was definitely one logged in at the time that would have wanted to come and did want to come and try sell, and we just cut, I mean, it's out of our hands. It was just an off spur of the moment thing that I had come up with, and I worried that would be a problem. I just hope maybe if we did it early enough, no one would be or else would be around, and we'd be like, okay, phew, dodge that. Nope, didn't dodge that bullet.
Nope.
And I hate leaving people out of things, but sometimes game mechanics don't allow for it. And frankly, doing it and doing one of the bigger ones that would be like a hard mode, like an 8-person thing, I don't know that we would even get through, which is completely a total different level of frustration. So I think from here on out, if we do it, we'll have to DM the thing in a way. So, it's not a perfect system. There's no real great way. It got done in like an hour and a half. That was kind of nice, and I think everyone still had a good time. So it went quick, but nothing's ever perfect. And the whole 4-man dungeon thing, can I just say that's just dumb?
I agree with you.
Doesn't ESO do that too?
I think it's ridiculous.
Yes. Not a dungeon run. Like a raid is still a raid, but a group run with only 4 people.
Yeah, it's only 4 people.
Yeah. It'd be nice
if it was 6 people for EQ.
And EQ 2.
And you could do 5 and get through most.
Mm-hmm.
6 was a nice number.
It'd be nice if they could do if they would do it like, a certain range of like maybe 4 to 6, but if you've only got 4, the difficulty downs a little bit, and if you've got 6, it increase, a little couple more hit points or armor.
Well, I think maybe if we look for stuff that's on planets but it's out in the world rather than flashpoints, so that we can kill people, but
I think that's might be what I'll have to
find.
Be
open world, so we can have as many people as we want if we want to do it that way.
And there's a lot of them out there. Those flashpoints were just super convenient, and it was a trial and error kind of a thing. So, but it was me trying roleplay stuff again. So that's something, because I've been kind of on the outs of it for quite some time now. I'm trying, as we'll get to. So, what about you two? Oh, we got Strafay's on mute. I don't even know where he's at. Well, we lost you and Faye. They had to go do something real quick. Something came up suddenly.
I didn't want to interfere with the tour debate. So here you go.
Yeah. You better not. Playing over there, SWG garbage.
Hey, man.
Miss it so
I'm just
much.
keeping it real,
Just
not
miss it so
spoon fed.
much.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I don't consider grinding to be real, but I'm glad you like it.
Well,
I can't
Oh,
stand
and
grinding.
Jedi is
Keith-
definitely a grind. That is for sure.
It
I
keeps
would lose my
keeps
mind.
people from being Jedi at level 1. So yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah. So, what about you two, Sibs, Faye, either of you?
I have been baseballing all weekend or all week.
Tell us about the baseball role play.
I wish there was baseball role play. No, we've started summer ball, and so we have high school ball Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly Thursday, and then we have tournaments that start Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I actually drove 4 hours round trip yesterday to go to a baseball game for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Was there drama at the concession stand? Please tell us the details.
No drama.
There was just a bunch of angry parents leaning on the walls, glaring at all the other kids from the other team.
Yeah, and one lady had a really annoying phone like ringtone. I was like,
in public, isn't that the worst?
I was like, come on, turn it down.
Yeah. What was it? Was it like who let the dogs out or some or just the stupid sound?
No, it's just like one of those little sounds.
Yeah.
But I was just like, it was like, da, 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 da. And I was like, what is that? Something gonna blow up? Like, no.
It's gonna blow up.
I mean, I keep mine on vibrate and just, never mind. Keep it on this in my chair with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Go on.
That's all I got.
Yeah. So yeah, that's true. You've pretty much been out of it. I think you've gotten to play tonight.
Yeah, for about 30 minutes.
Right before the show.
But I summer's always this way. It's
Mhm.
super busy with baseball. I wasn't even supposed to be here tonight, but
No, I was actually
They-
surprised that she did show up
yeah, they scooted the games up from
because of the rain.
So yeah,
much
it was supposed to be a 2:45 game, and then they moved it to 10 and 12, so I didn't get to make it because I have to work.
You gotta make bank, yo.
Yeah, I need. Apparently, my sugar daddy thinks I need to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Sugar Daddy can't pay for everything all by himself because he ain't got that much sugar. There's a lot of vinegar in that sugar.
Stay tuned next week for the exciting conclusion to drama at the concession stand.
Dun, dun,
Only at the
dun.
baseball diamond. Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Okay, so here's a question. How would you role play a baseball game? Like, what would be the mechanics in that? Would you just...
Okay, first you turn to an anime.
Right.
Then you make it super competitive. My rival for life is on the other team.
You
You know, you
say
can do
that,
it.
but there actually is like 100 and something episode anime of a baseball.
I'm sure there is.
I think it's called like Ace of Diamonds, if I remember. Our son watched at least the first 10, 20 episodes, but it was as when it
man.
first started. But I think the last I looked, it was like the 150s of episodes.
Goodness gracious.
I assume it's a lot like Yu-Gi-Oh, but without cards and stuff. It's just baseballs and strikes
Sasuke,
and
we are the
stuff.
playoffs. Nandayo. Our rival, he's there. Yeah. I can hear it.
I will beat this game with the heart of the balls.
And the
Wait.
coach comes out, and he's a complete douchebag to him. And
of course,
Win,
there's
win,
that one
win.
kid that has the Band-Aid over his nose.
yep, always.
And the old
Have to.
50s like American graffiti haircut.
There you go.
Tunnel snakes, man, forever.
Tunnel snakes rule. Oh, wait, that's
That's right.
Fallout.
Uh-huh. I figured you'd catch it. So what about you,
Yeah.
Strafay? What'd you do?
Had a pretty interesting week early on before things went sideways in real life. Jail, twin brother of Trath, has shown up, and he's getting ready for things to happen, and he's chiefly concerned about Cial going on this little sojourn to try to pit two Daedric Lord rivals against Nocturnal, which he knows is going to end up and probably see his death in a fiery blaze. So he's pretty concerned about his apprentice because he needs her for future events, willing or not. Hopefully willing. So he has
Hopefully
taken
willing.
steps to acquiring a temporary agent. This happens to be a Khajiit that everyone loves who dances with joy. And he's gone out to look for her. Well, in this little search, he ran across. He kept hearing whispers of his daughter trying to find him, so he just showed up at her door. And just blazingly, right in the open, rode up to her, to the street, stopped there. And as soon as she walked up, he said, "Hello, daughter. I hear you've been looking for me. This turned into an hour-long conversation in their house, of which Cave showed up. And then he revealed Cave's, oh, it's good to see you, Dem. It's been too many years. I'm so glad you watched the 2 I asked you to watch. Which then threw him under the bus.
Yep.
And, he took all these accusations that Kia kept leveling at him. And he's like, I don't understand why you keep throwing this hate at me. I've done nothing to you. I came here in good, honest, faith. And I'm answering your questions. I don't understand why you keep accusing me of things I've yet to do or have yet to done or have not done at all. So he was there to see how his daughter was. She was, of course, freaking out because she believes the lies of the Jedi. I mean, the lies of Trithalis. And, he tried. He tried reaching out, but some minds are just closed and they just refuse to open. What are you going to do? So he took his new minion and he went back on his little hunt. And the new minion, he is happy. He has these new clothes. The boss, he is nice to this one. He looks like the old boss. Maybe he is the old boss. But the shininess, I must follow the shininess. Rufus likes the shiny multicolored yarn ball. It is all mine and no one can take it. But we're going to find Sia. This one gets confused. I think it's my friend who is the wood elf. She has done a naughty thing. She is playing with her sign, and she is playing with I think it's the disease one, the not so nice one, the cannibal one. This one does not traffic in the Daedra. He just knows boss is concerned, and we shall find her and bring her home and make sure she is safe. And then we shall dance the dance of joy. So overall, the roleplay, despite the lull, I am taking steps to be proactive and push it forward. There's a lot of role players that are super I was not expecting Romeo to be so invested. He is super excited and charged about it. Mayra is super excited, so people are getting interested, and that's it's always a good thing.
Yeah,
that is a good thing.
And and Trask's about to be a father, but we shall see how that goes. Dun dun dun, exactly.
Dun dun dun. It's coming.
The end.
Jazz, you do that way better than the boy.
Nuh-uh.
Don't fill her head. She doesn't need her head blown up anymore in this Zibs. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we all know how much I enjoy. Never mind.
Mm-hmm. No, carry on.
I'll stop.
Good time.
Disapproving silence from
she always takes it to the bad place. I know this is going to go down.
Oh yeah. This is my surprise voice.
Yeah. Me and Ashton are old enough to know it's like any little hint, she's going to jump on it, carry it out.
Yeah, I know if it flutters.
Don't feed that trollery.
If it's fluttered across my mind, it's blazed across hers.
Yeah, there it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Didn't mean to grab an ice cube when I drank that. That is not
I still
what
can't
I
believe that everybody's believing the lives of, Trithalis. But hey, people got to have their beliefs and disillusions, I suppose.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
I mean, he came in good faith and told you the truth about everything you want to know about your mother. And you still were throwing hate at him.
Well, yeah.
Some people are just rude, really, when you come down to it. It's really
what we have here is failure to communicate. Some women you just can't reach.
Oh.
So she gets it like she wants it.
Right?
That's how she likes it.
Oh my gosh.
I can't argue that.
This is what happens when you let them out of the kitchen, Straffe.
I know,
you let them
dude.
be warriors, and then you try to bring them the truth, and they're like, snap.
Well, even Voli is trying to chew off Trask's arm for going off. Hey, by the way, I'm going to test this artifact. Why? Because I need to test its properties. But I want to go. But you can't go. You better come back. I'm going to eat your face.
That's good incentive.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's good incentive.
But again, let them be warriors. They start, taking over your life.
I know.
What are you going to do? It's cat's out of the bag.
Uh-huh.
Can't put that genie back in the bottle as much as I would like to put Will Smith back in the bottle.
Dude, I saw a picture of that. I was terrified. I was like, no, Will Smith, no.
I went and saw
all I heard when I saw him appear was West Philadelphia, born and raised.
And most of the singing actually was pretty close to that. Like, I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. It was fine. And he was, when he wasn't singing, Will Smith was a good genie when he wasn't singing. And
I haven't seen it, so
but
you tell me.
The comparison when you hear a song that you've heard for what now almost 30 years,
Yep,
done by Robin Williams, and then someone else is doing their own spit take on it, it didn't jive.
I bet.
Visually, everything was awesome. It was, Disney always does good on its visuals, and the Aladdin and Jasmine, their songs were just fine, and their singing is actually pretty close to the originals the way they sounded, but it was one of those things, and the singing just it didn't jive. Like the jokes that Will Smith had just as the genie when he wasn't singing were really good. They were actually, when he say "make me a prince," do you mean like make you a prince? And it shows some guy that he just created, like, where's my castle? It's like, do you want me to make you a prince, or do you want me to make a prince?
You know what would have been great if actually they had somebody looking like Prince from the 80s. That would have been hilarious.
Well, see, and that was the joke from
Pretty sure we would have gotten sued.
Well, and that actually was the joke in the original. I thought I think there actually was a Prince joke in the original.
Yes, there was, but they had permission.
Yeah, and they had, and then there was just all the impressions that he did, and that was stuff they could get away with, when they did it then, and it doesn't.
How was One Step Ahead of the Hitman? How was that one done? That was my favorite.
He was. It was actually, that one was one of the better ones, I thought. And in a modern day, so Aladdin was doing parkour, which kind of makes sense. It was
well,
neat.
He did in the movie too.
It really was, but I mean, this was like
more
clearly
parkour
like
to that than anything else.
Parkour, like the jumping over something without your feet, but pushing your hands off to make yourself go the extra little, that kind of stuff. And it was good. There were, like I said, those two, Jasmine and him, were fine. They really were.
I steal only what I can afford. I love that part when I was a kid.
And they even had the big burly guards. They even did the scene with the harem, although the harem scene was definitely it was tapped down a lot more than it was even in the original. Yeah, they were fully clothed. There was other than the eyes and the hands, I don't think there was a whole lot showing like there was in the original.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, they had the big burly. They did a faithful recreation, and some of the songs they added a couple extra songs, just like they did in Beauty and the Beast, and some worked better than others. There was one, and don't take this the wrong way. There was this girl power song right before Jasmine did this really good thing at the very end. And it totally ruined for me what she actually did, what the speech that she gave after that. I mean, I guess there's no spoilers in this. So when Jafar takes over, because it's obviously a 30-year-old movie and it follows the story exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, no spoiler alert, so you already seen it when you were a kid.
Yeah, but there's a spot in it, they changed it up a little bit, but there was this kind of, she was being hauled away after Jafar was turned to Sultan, and all of a sudden, all the guards around her disappeared, and as she went through a song that was really reminiscent of "Let It Go" from Frozen, which I like that song. That's I thought that's a pretty powerful song. It's one of my favorite scenes in that movie, and I loved it. And it even had the same tempo and temperament of it.
Well, gee, they just copied something? What a shock!
At least it was their own property for a change. Right?
By the way, Easter egg, kids.
But and then she did this, and then the song ended, but she was then still captured by the guards that were taking her away, but she got them to stop, and then she had this really impassioned speech to one of the guards to try to snap him out of it. But the song actually, I thought, took away from that. That was the only new song they added that just didn't
fit in.
jive. Yeah, and I was curious if I was the only one, and I'm looking online, I'm like, nope, apparently there's. And not just men, not just which of course everyone was accused of. You're just a white male that doesn't like. No. It just the song, if it had been by itself, wouldn't have been bad. But it came out of nowhere and really ruined the flow.
Really tacked on kind of feel.
It really did because Jafar's taking over. He's got the genie, and he's making all these shitty wishes to ruin everybody and ruin Agrabah and become Sultan. And then all of a sudden,
I love evil Jafar when he got all of his power.
Yeah. The only other
cartoon.
one that was bad was kind of Jafar, because that guy's voice, that first Jafar was, evil. And this one is like, he kind of sounded like he was a car salesman that was
He had
really
the voice
down
for.
on his luck.
Oh no!
He's like, yeah, so what am I going to take to get you into my sorcery today? I got
Oh,
this
Lord.
great snake staff over here. He was just too high-pitched for me, but
Okay.
it wasn't as good as some of their other remakes. Like, I'm looking forward to the Lion King one, kind of. I'm waiting on Little Mermaid. I know that's got to be coming. I think.
Oh,
Dude.
you know it's coming.
I think I heard.
How are they gonna dress them? Like that's not even. Oh,
It-
God, I got nothing.
Chills.
Bigger.
Yeah, but
Well,
that's exploitation, Jazz. Can't be doing that if you're
well, I
Disney.
mean, the next one they're doing live action is Mulan. So, and that one
Oh, there you
they
go.
took a lot of flack for that one even at the time. So I'm really
yeah.
curious how they're gonna get away with that this time.
Well, if
which-
China tells them no, they won't do it. So there you go.
Just like Winnie the Pooh looking like their emperor. I'm just gonna call him president now, but still, we all know who it is.
Dude, I did see Christopher Robin. That was awesome,
Was it good? I wanted to
and
see
that was
Christopher
something
Robin.
totally new because they just made it.
Yeah,
There was no
well,
story
It
that
has,
remade it.
it has Obi-Wan in it, so I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he's a fantastic actor. I mean, whatever
Yeah.
his name is,
He did well
Ian McGregor.
in that role. And I was like, I remember this guy. I remember the cartoon as a kid. And then suddenly 3D Winnie the Pooh and his buddies, they weren't terrible looking. I was like, this is pretty fun.
I saw Detective Pikachu. It had that same reaction. It was like, this is actually. I enjoyed Detective Pikachu, but I'm a Pokemon fan. I went and saw that by myself. I was like, I
Yeah.
went and saw it. I liked it. So
It is a good one. I don't know about these remakes. I haven't seen any of them because I'm like, dude, you guys are just. We're afraid to make a new IP, so let's troll our old RP.
Well,
IPs rather.
you say that too, but there's one that they've actually kind of revamped. But even though it is the Maleficent movie
Yeah,
was actually
that's out of nowhere. Yeah, that's true.
that was
But
like
that was good.
Really.
It was-
I
and they're
haven't
doing-
seen
I
it.
liked
I've
it.
seen bits of it, and it looks amazing.
you'd
So-
love it, Jazz. Just
They
the
took their
visuals.
stuff and made a new story, but say that's something new. That's good.
But now they're
That's what they need to do. They need
Right.
to put a new spin on it and make a new story and a new perspective and redo it, not just
not just
copy it and
regurgitate
make
it. Yeah.
it into it's
Well, and the
regurgitated crap.
great
I
thing
don't
with that
get it.
Maleficent one is we saw last movie, Sib and I saw, there's doing a sequel to it, and that actually takes you up into the Sleeping Beauty story, continuing that first movie, but it's still it's still Maleficent. It's still
Yeah.
from her perspective on why she did all these things, of the way the kingdom treated her and turned her and her people all bad and all this and that. I think I really liked the Maleficent one. It was
good.
It was
I agree.
surprising. It was much better
I
than
liked
the
it.
yeah.
I didn't know what I expected, but I watched them like this is pretty neat. I think I've seen this in Silver Circle somewhere, but then I digress.
Yeah, and Angelina Jolie's movies can be pretty hit and miss.
Yeah,
You
she
know.
did good in that one.
Yeah, she was really good in that one. That I think showed
Oh,
off her
cool.
acting chops a lot more than a lot of them did. That and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which
Man, that's
that's a great movie.
it's been a while since I saw that one.
It's been a while since I've seen that one.
Anyway, role
So
play.
our movie hour is now concluded. Sorry, I got off Disney right there.
This has been the RP Movie Hour.
Yeah. So, which I guess leads into Burnout, which is where you start talking about completely unrelated subjects.
Hey,
Keep
we're on
the
topic.
conversation go. See how I connected that? That was
Yep, that's
it was
perfect.
seamless. It was almost unseeable. It was.
It's a seamless segue, sir.
It was like connecting Duplos with regular Legos. It was so seamless. So the Burnout. It's something we actually have covered Burnout before. More or less what causes it. So we'll touch on it a bit, and we can kind of go over it here a little bit of at least what causes it. We're going to try to go more into how to overcome it, which is, it's
How
one
do you get out of
those
burnout?
things. Yeah.
How do you unburn yourself, I guess?
Yeah. Burn. So for typically kind of too with the burnout on a game happens kind of for a lot of reasons. One of the ones we've seen is life gets crazy. We've seen a lot of people may not necessarily be burnt out, but life has gotten so busy for them they either don't have time or their stress levels are so much they in a way kind of burn out because they can't handle just keeping.
It's too much stuff going
It's just
on.
too much stuff. Yeah.
You got to prioritize what's important over what's fun sometimes.
Yeah. The whole real life comes first
Yep.
thing really is that if your real life is going to shit, but you're like, hold on, I gotta log in for 8 hours to roleplay.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Priorities a little bit. So that does happen.
And the boss asks you, where you at? You're MIA. And then you tell them what's going on. And then she says, without missing a beat, real life first, sugar.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Jazz. That's an old Silver Circle line.
Yeah. Oh, is that?
But yeah, no, it's a thing. And there's many ways to get out of it. And I think they're just specific to who you are. I don't think there's any one fix.
No, and there's definitely not. So life's getting crazy, which of course is stress levels. The one we went over in great length, especially these days, MMOs are kind of boring and less innovative, and there's nothing new really out there. So
would you dare say too much spoon feeding at times?
A lot, and a lot less. No, there's not been a lot of. I mean, what like we said before, what's the last real big MMO that came out that was innovative and things like that? I mean, even the ones we play right now, like Star Wars and ESO, those are been out for 5 years.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Really, they didn't reinvent.
It's crazy.
They surely didn't reinvent the wheel. Star Wars, especially, didn't reinvent. It's basically just a clone of old EverQuest and World of Warcraft with the Star Wars skin slapped on it.
The Old Republic always reminds me of Star Wars with the Mass Effect speech options.
Yeah, it's literally
and a little bit of the Old Republic
just,
solo vibe. Yeah,
yeah, it's a lot of the old single player Old Republic games just kind of like slapped into a multiplayer setting. I mean, that's been the complaint for that since
when I played it before, I just kept expecting Shepard to show up with his crew at some point.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite place on the fleet.
Yeah, pretty much. Never happened,
so
sadly.
That I think for me is one of the bigger things. There's not been like EverQuest 2 at its time. It still used a lot of the old stuff, but it did a lot of new stuff as well. At least eventually.
It did. We had
first
flying
6
mounts.
months to a year were a little rough, but
it banked on our nostalgia a lot, which was I loved it because hey, EQ1 was freaking crazy back in the day.
Yeah, and that was a good short-term plan, but long-term, obviously, World of Warcraft, proved that would bite you in the butt because nostalgia. You want to out nostalgia World of Warcraft? Okay.
I suspect that we were going to end up going back to Shadows of Luckland kind of content because they kept teasing that snake Shisor or whatever those guys were before the dark times and the Russians took over SOE and that was the end.
Yeah, I got that vibe too that we were going to finally find out what happened to Luckland and EverQuest 2 and then Daybreak Games came along.
I had this feeling we were going to get those hybrid Charval or Volshare, whatever they were.
Yeah.
And I was like, that'd be cool, but it didn't go there.
And then it went to rehashing Kunark zones.
It did, and then it just kept adding over time, not immediately. Just by the way, since currency is a thing, and we'll just keep adding different types of game currency and keep you grinding. It's like, dude, this is no.
Yeah, which is what Star Wars does. There's, I don't know, every
all
expansion
do it, right?
there's a new currency that makes the other ones obsolete. Not galaxies. Final Fantasy 14 does that with their tombstones.
76 does it with
76.
Badges. If you're in the Pioneer Scouts.
Oh, really? So that's what that Pioneer Scouts thing was badges.
So it's essentially for you to unlock a backpack so you can carry more weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can get all these extra things. So if you do the possum badges, which is the first level, you can unlock other stuff. And then you go, tadpole, and then it goes to possum, which then adds mods to your backpack. It's a grind, man, because those things are hard to get. And you have to have that alternate currency to get it. I'm like, come on, guys. I've seen this in EQ1 with gems, EQ2 with, you got to have these Onyx shards to get this void gear, whatever it was.
Yeah,
it's a tank. It's a tactic to keep you think there's new stuff coming out, just keep you playing.
Yeah, it really is. It's a modern tactic in MMOs that it's lazy is what it is.
It's quite lazy, yeah.
It's very lazy.
Totally.
It's very grindy lazy. And the fact that every single one of them, you could name off. I don't know how many Star Wars has the tombstones. The name changes in Final Fantasy 14 every expansion, but it's literally the same thing. It's just you collect this number of things by doing dungeons over and over, and you go from there. But
And you can get burnout. Just case in point.
oh yeah,
While you're grinding either other currency or this alternate currency, you start getting burnt out, or your friends are not like maybe one of your friends hasn't showed up, or they just quit showing up. They were part of your big story, and then that adds to your burnout. There's some guild drama that further adds to your burnout, and then one little tiny thing happens, and you're like, I'm done.
yeah.
And then you spend, I don't know how, like, you look at movies, look at anything to try to get back in, get over it.
Yeah, well, and that's one of those things with role play is you have to keep. Sorry, I got something going on in the background. Is everything okay back
You're
there?
good. Sometimes you just have to adapt your story or what you're doing, and just keep. If you're not totally burnt out, you just have to look for alternate ways to make it cool.
Yeah.
And if you got people invested, that can sometimes, if people get real excited about the current story, that can really pull you out of burnout sometimes, because you're like, oh, these people they want to see what happens. So then you start getting creative again.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's see the other one. Let's see, aging out of the same stories. I think this one's one a lot of the old timers like us have kind of got into. For example, kidnapping roleplay.
Oh gosh,
I think we've all kind of aged out of that one. Being interesting
Jazz will
anymore.
tell you all about those horrible. Yeah, it's old. You can only save the princess so many times until you realize she's an inept twit. You can't save herself.
But she's when they're a super smart assassin that can kill anybody, but yet they keep, you know.
She can, and I hear she keeps great helmet, which is why we keep saving her, right?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. But seriously, though,
I've always been of that opinion that you want me to believe that you're this big bad. I mean, we had this a lot in EQ too. I'm a big bad, dangerous criminal assassin, super duper, hit really hard. No one can beat me, but you get kidnapped 3 times a year.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if it was a random rare occurrence of you just were in a bad place at the bad time, and the enemy faction just got the drop on you, you're toast sitting in their jail, right? Because they want to extort information out of you about your guild,
right,
or your collective. It's another thing if every other week, oh, I got kidnapped by these guys now. Somebody come save me.
Yeah, or what happened with Kishmish's character once, which was not a kidnapping so much. It was a hostage situation. Like the prisoners got out, and they were holding. He hadn't been like, well, where it happened to him. They're like, oh no, he's right there. They're totally going to kill him if they know they've got demands. That made it actually interesting because it was a different take than the usual. Oh, I've been kidnapped by.
Right.
I don't know what.
And you could totally.
I've been kidnapped by my ex-husband who wants me to give over custody of the kids, and he's gonna eat my children if I don't give him what he wants.
And then
it's like,
and then you get there, and he's like, "Wow, I've got her, and I'm gonna eat all the babies."
Find out what happens next week on The Young and the Brainless.
Yeah,
yes.
But I just lost all patience for that nonsense.
You
can keep it
great
interesting.
Damsel in Distress, by the way. Kishmish in Sat says, "I hate playing damsel in distress, but you make a very good damsel. You got the legs for it, buddy."
And if you like Star Trek Next Generation, you could do the whole. Well, I'm the captain. You have my doctor. Take me. I'm a more valuable hostage, and see if you can like talk those dudes down. Yeah, you can make it interesting, but it just happens too often.
Yeah.
It's too kind of ridiculous.
There was a time period where, because it wasn't just one, it was a handful of people, and it was they thought it was a good storyline to do, but at the same time, there's good ways of doing that, and that.
The only worst thing about Kidnap RP is Kidnap RP because you're going on vacation.
Right. Which leaves everyone in a lurch.
I swear to God. That just sends me in the loop. Okay, so I'm going to get kidnapped while I'm on break, and I'll be back, and then you can rescue me.
Yeah.
No.
It's like,
how about no, Sally?
Not happening. Sorry.
Yeah, like they go off somewhere to search for something or this or that. That's much better reason to be gone in character. But
yeah, if you want to say I'm going to go on this thing and I'm going to be gone for a couple of days, or like I often have had my characters just go on vacation with their kids, or run off with whoever they're screwing at the time. We're going to go screw like weasels on top of a mountain. See you in a week. I mean,
This has been the kidnapping hour on RPM Radio.
I'm totally okay with that. Go get your groove on top of a mountain, whatever. But
No,
I've been
Jazz. It
kidnapped.
has to be like weasels now. You set the precedence.
Oh well, weasels are fun,
Yeah.
and Sib can do the sound.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Now we got to hear it.
there we go.
Oh, gosh. That sound. That's a
I wasn't
dubious
sure
clap.
what sound.
I love that
I got
sound.
lots of sounds.
I was expecting some weasel chitter, and suddenly the dubious clap. All right.
Weasel chitter. Wait a minute. Sib?
Oh, God. You should do it.
Wow, that was Jazz. That was Jazz.
That was
weasel
Jazz.
chitter.
That was
Jazz?
Awesome.
Oh, no, Jazz, no.
For our audio listeners, I apologize.
This has been the Burnout with Insanity Hour.
Given that all of them are audio listeners, I'm just apologizing to everybody.
That was awesome. Okay, I'm fine now.
Awesome. You went main there for a second. That was wicked awesome, man. Wicked awesome. But yeah, I think a lot of it, some of it is just aging out of the same stories. The creative, when the well runs dry on everything happening around you, you're like, oh, you start to see every plot twist coming from a mile away.
Yep.
It's
gonna happen.
Makes it rough. It's like having seen, a movie that is the same plot as all the other movies. Kind of after a while, you're like, oh wait, okay, so you're the kid from the middle of nowhere, and you lead a boring life, but all of a sudden some old man comes into there and says, you have a great destiny ahead of you, and then you have to take a ring to Darth Vader and drop it into a volcano on Mount Doom, and then there's eagles, and also a spaceship called the Falcon of Millenniums, and then it's all the same. It's literally
And then Harry Potter saves you and takes you to
Yeah, and Voldemort is like, where's my nose? Somebody took it when I was a baby. I'm very cranky over it, and it
was me, you snake-faced fool, Skeletor.
He's cranky because he can't smell anything.
Yeah, he's just got those little baby snake slants.
I
Yep,
know.
he
He
does.
can't smell nothing.
He's just mad.
He smells with his tongue.
Blech.
Ugh.
Isn't that what snakes do?
That is what snakes do. Yeah, they
Man,
taste.
that's
They
true.
taste smell with their tongue
Okay.
in the air.
But it sounds funny.
Which is why you don't see a lot of snakes near Taco Bell, because it burns. Just smelling it gives them snake
True story.
diarrhea. So another one too. I think this one's kind of. I don't know. This one kind of it happens, but younger, even it happens for a lot of younger people as well as older folks. The same story thing.
Yeah.
You really, I mean, it's the longer you're doing it, it's that, and there's that. Of course, then there's as you get older too, impatience.
Yep.
I don't have the spare time I used to. So I can feel like it's being wasted with something stupid, then I don't want to stick around for it anymore, because there's other stuff I could better be doing with my time.
Yeah.
I think as you get older, you may understand how much more precious your time is
because you have less of it to
Right.
spend in fun.
Yeah.
I don't think I truly appreciated how much free time I had back then versus now. I mean, I miss it now. I don't miss being sick, but
most nights
I miss the time.
You're from 6 to 10 is your typical playtime. You get
I
if you're
have
lucky,
4 hours
you get 4
tops.
hours.
And that's if something doesn't happen in real life that takes my
Or
attention
there's
away.
a pool party.
Yeah, a pool party that's made me miss Telvani this week.
You bring up a good point, though. The younger players, like they're into different media. They love different characters, and they go for those stories. And the older role players, we've seen it, or may have done it in our youth, and we're like, eye roll, and that will burn you out.
Yeah.
Which is why you have to constantly keep, fine tuning your role plays. It's not the same. One of the things I did with Jail, and I really love the Watcher stuff, but the Watcher stuff even turned into, here's the bad guy, he spawned a monster, let's fight the monster, we won.
Yeah.
So this time around, I went, well, I'm going to take kind of some of that, but this is a complicated bad guy. You don't know if he really think maybe he is. We
Maybe
definitely
he's not
think
a
he's
bad
the
guy.
enemy,
Right.
but maybe he has some kind of goal, and maybe we just didn't see his side of it. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to make it complicated this time around, and it's been kind
Yeah.
of interesting.
Well, and that's like, again, that's the evolution. Because if you hadn't had
Yeah.
the Watcher thing, you would be doing what I did with the Watcher back then. Because
Exactly.
at the time, we hadn't done anything like that. Now you've done that already, so now you're like, all right, well, let's see how I can up my game.
Now we got to take a spin on it so everybody's interested. And, hey, this is fresh and new. I'm excited. Instead of, this guy's going to show up. I'm just going to do the deal. Space Ghost. I'm going to go play the new Elder Scrolls, whatever. You know what I mean?
Elder Scrolls 6 is going to have 10 years worth of content. That's not what he said. I love when people... Sorry, that was something Todd
you're
Howard
good.
said.
I haven't even watched any of his stuff yet.
He was saying how Elder Scrolls 6 they want to make sure that it can be played just like Skyrim was for like the next 10 years. And people were like, that means it's going to have 10 years worth of content. No, you idiot. It's not.
That's not.
Don't make me defend Todd Howard. God damn it. I don't want to be in
Obviously,
that position.
they've never played Oblivion or
Right.
Skyrim.
Well,
or
yeah,
Fallout, for that matter.
Yeah, like Skyrim and how Grand Theft Auto. Skyrim's 8 years. Grand Theft Auto's going on 10, and they're still in the top 5 sales charts month after month.
Half the fun is just messing around, screwing around, and that's what it is.
And the mod communities, which is that's what keeps those things going. But even on just don't disrespect God Howard. I am working on a Todd Howard impression for many other reasons, most of which is to just relentlessly mock the guy. But yeah, so the last one, I mean, given there's no really last one here, but bad guild can totally burn someone out too if your guild goes bad or the people.
And
around
honestly,
you
I
go
think
bad.
a lot of times that's what does it.
It's
The
guild.
guild drama and guild BS
It does.
will wear out everyone faster than anything else. As Kishmas and you can attest to, you get in a group that's poisonous,
Yeah,
and they will completely wear you out and wear you down, and you just don't give a shit anymore.
They're fun pyres.
Yes, they are.
They
Totally.
literally suck the fun out of everything.
That is a technical term on RP MMO radio. Funpire.
Fun pyre, I like that.
Totally ours.
So, I'm really, if going a little deeper to it, it's never any one of these things too. It's usually a combination of multiples of them.
There always has to be more than one here.
Yeah.
It can be two things, but it's always more than one thing.
Yeah, because I mean, impatience, I can get over that. I understand it, but for me, the biggest part is it's the games themselves. They've gotten so stale. And
so how do we get over it?
Yeah.
That's the key, right?
The key is the industry needs to do better and appease me in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah, that's
Get on that.
happen.
Well,
Okay.
when they got
And
that
in
going,
case
let me
that
know, Bob.
doesn't happen, we have other things just to try and
Let's talk about those other things.
on the
shall
off
we?
chance that the entire industry doesn't bow to my will. So, in Burnout, funny enough, even when you don't want it to happen, it still can. Like, I don't want to be burnt out. I don't want to not be doing something I really enjoyed, but I just don't enjoy it. I mean, I have on a limited basis we have in Star Wars, and I think some of that is also jazz because there's only 2 or 3 days most people are even around because the rest of the week they're in ESO. So I kind of know when to be there as well, which does help, at least with me right now, because I don't want to be logged in all the time just on the off chance somebody's up for something. But
Yep, I can see that.
I would love to enjoy it the way I used to, but I don't. I can't get quite into that vein again.
Part of I think some of the magic of EverQuest 1 and Star Wars Galaxies was there wasn't a lot of content. You had the base game, you had your progression, and everything else was player made.
Yeah.
And you had events, like certain nights, the Creedles are playing at this bar in Talos. It was fun because you're going there and you're like, whose gang of no goods are going to be there? Like, you never knew. So you were excited about logging in to see what was going to happen that day.
Yeah.
Versus if things get stale and you're like, okay, the A, B, and C are going to be there. This chick in Group C is going to start complaining about her toenails, as always. And then this dude over here in Group A is going to tell you how cool he is because he got the latest whatever. and he's so, whatever. You get the idea.
Yeah, I
You
got
don't
2
wanna hang around that.
SLI GeForce 2800 Ti MLBs. Yeah.
And you're like, okay,
Great.
good for you, dude.
So you can run a game using only a quarter of your computer's power because no game out there exists that could even come close to using the entirety of your computer's power.
Yeah.
Your computer too strong, that's what I'm saying.
Definitely coming on too strong with the tech.
I do think that there are ways to prevent it from happening. I think that there are ways to forestall it or to shift your focus, to change what you're doing that may be hurting you without realizing that it's hurting you.
Sometimes you just got to step away, right?
Yeah, you just got to take a breath and then, but at the same time, I did have burnout, as you know, twice.
Yeah,
hardcore.
I really think it happens to everybody sooner or later. Now that might be
but
2
let
months,
me finish.
it might be 5 years.
But it didn't last more than 4 or 5 days. I went to a different game, unknown to everybody. I didn't make my own guild. I just joined a guild, and I started playing again, and role-playing again, and under a new tune that nobody knew who I was. And I often have, and this is true. And I have told people this that run guilds, and people who are officers in guilds, and so they're really deeply into whatever game they're playing. You really should have a second game or a second focus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you will burn out. Period. You can't not, because it's too much.
Whether it's another game, watching something on Netflix.
Yeah, I don't care if
man.
it's theater, politics that you go to once a week, knitting, playing football with your
underwater
basket
weaving.
It doesn't really matter. It's just you need a second focus.
Underwater basket weaving.
Yeah, and see, and for
underwater basket weaving.
I love video games. So what comes about from, and this is just me personally, is that other stuff comes out, and it always draws. It's throughout the entire career of MMOs, it's drawn me away, at least for a short period of time. But for some reason on this one, the problem is there's nothing to really, really draw me back, and that's game-wise, because it's just the same games over and over. Usually before, I would, like right now, with the Star Wars, I totally dig on the expansion stories for the Old Republic. They're the Knights of expansions were surprisingly good compared to the previous content, like Makeb, which was
boring. Yeah,
really,
it was abysmal. It was bad.
I even doing that again, I spacebarred through nearly all of it because I'd already done it once, and I was like, I do not need this. We get it. Oh, the planet's gonna explode. Except, of course, we can't have that happen because you still have to be able to come back to this planet to do content. So, the planet's saved, but it's gonna blow up.
Who didn't see that coming?
But it turns into an episode of Dragon Ball Z where Frieza kills the planet and says the planet will blow up in 5 minutes. In like 18 30-minute episodes later, they're just finally getting to where it's almost about to explode, depending on your story. And at least the Knights one, I think they actually did the right thing by going away from the individual quests that they had at the vanilla starter pack. You can't keep that kind of content up.
Bad content will wreck it, man. All day.
The good story, the way they progressed the storyline, the way they brought in new stuff, especially on an RP's perspective. For just regular people, it was a good story, but for role players, the literal shift of balance of power in your role play in the galaxy has changed because for a time the Republic and Empire were working together. Yeah, you had to take that into account, and that's good. I liked that, but at the same time, once I get done with all that content, I don't know. When something new and shiny comes out over on Xbox or something, I'll probably be like, ooh, look at that, something new and shiny. I'm gonna go play that, and that'll be the end of it. So, it's, and again, this is just for me. This is my burnout story. I'm a total burnout man. That's right. I don't enjoy the roleplay like I used to, and I have. It's been for anybody listening to the show. You've known it for months now. I've not really had a lot of roleplay updates because
And it's sad because you did a really good character with that vampire Thrawn hybrid
Yeah.
dude because I liked him.
And it was just a chore. Just the thought of logging in just was taxing, and I didn't have the energy or want for it. And again, Star Wars
Sometimes
has
it's
helped
stuff
that.
going on in real life that flavors it. Sometimes it's just pure burnout. It's like, I don't care. I don't want to log
Yeah,
in. And people can't understand that. And you're like, dude, I just don't care.
yeah. It's just when you're no longer into it, you're just no longer into it. It's like trying to pretend you like that coworker at the office that nobody likes when you're just like, God damn it, why are you here? For an example, there's a guy at work, and he's one of those Napoleon Dynamite at work kind of guys, and he's like, thanks for waiting for me. And it's not the first time he said that joke. I was having a day, and I was like, it gets funnier every time you say it. Yeah, day after day, it's just funnier. He leaves me alone now. I don't know why, but
Gee, I wonder why.
Must have made an impression.
Yeah. I wanted to make an impression, but I'm not physically allowed to do that because it'll cost me my job. But verbally, I can get away with it. Like I said, I've enjoyed the Star Wars stuff. In roleplay,
Fresh perspective, man. Different game.
Yeah, and shit still just frustrates me, and it is. The communities are different, but some of the same stuff I see over and over again. This is why I avoid Fleet. This I kind of I'll go there when Jazz and them are there. That's all good.
It's like going to the Riften pub. It's a trash can full of crazy. But every once in a while, there's like that unspoiled biscuit someone dropped in there, or a piece of candy. Like, if you can find it, it's great. But the digging for it, sometimes you're like, no, I'm good. I don't care.
Who's the big red Twilight dude that you're hanging around with, Jazz?
Icus.
I like that guy.
Yeah, I like him a
the
lot.
other one too that you said is no longer there. Hodor.
Hondo is back.
Hodor, right? Hodor is back.
Hondo.
He's holding the door.
Hondo.
Hondo, that was it. I like that guy. He was, but at the same time, I liked him, that one chick that was bitching the whole time about roleplay, and while we were role-playing the scene out, I was like, see, you're not, I'm not a fan of you. I can do without. Because your role, you had one bad roll, and you're like, well, I didn't want to be here anyway. Well, then go.
They had one job, and they had to mess it up for everybody.
Yeah. But those two guys are they seem pretty solid. I enjoy them. A few of the others as well. I like them, but there's a lot of other stuff that frustrates me. And I think I was kind of thinking of it. There's kind of a ratio when it comes to this. No matter what you do at roleplay, there's always a certain level, a certain weighty pile of shit that you're going to have to wade through.
Yeah.
Yes.
But while you're
That's
sifting,
60%.
yeah, and while you're sifting through that with your bare hands to find the diamond in the shit, you have to. It depends if the pile of shit or the diamond is outweighed by that pile of shit. If it's worth it when you get to the fun part, then you find it. And when that equilibrium goes the other way and then stays that way, at least in your mind, for a long time, it starts to become not worth it. And that's kind of, I think, where I got to. And I don't want to be there. It's just where I am. And when the thing you added here, Jazz, where it comes down to outlook and perspective and viewpoint, yeah, it does. I mean, obviously, you and I, we could be all 3 or 4 of us here could go through the exact same thing, but our perspective on it, you might be cool with it. I might be like, well, this is, I can't do it. And, and someone else would be like, this is the best thing ever. Disneyland kind of style. And the other one goes, God, everything's awful. Cut myself in the rain just to hide my tears.
Yeah.
And I'm not at that level. It's just I'm not having fun, so I don't want to do a thing I'm not having the most fun with. I can watch, for example, Battlestar Galactica, which I'm on the final season of. I've only got one Cylon left to go. Strafay, just one more.
Excellent.
I know who they all are, but the one.
I ain't telling
the chosen one. No, and I don't want you to. I'd probably come down there in Texas and throttle you at this point.
But if you did show up, I'd buy you that bottle.
Yeah,
of whiskey,
damn right you would.
So,
and then I'd drink it and beat you with it.
Well, then don't you stay there.
So let's go into real quick, maybe, and by say real quick, and that's most of the rest of the show. How do you get over this? One that Jazz had already said is time away.
Yep,
that's definitely one.
And some people's time away is 6 months, and some people is 6 days. Everybody's different.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I just need 24 hours to just not have bullshit, and then I'm okay again.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially if there's been a spate of drama, I will tend to take a 24-hour period where I do something else.
there was a time I think Jazz had me on a timer.
Uh-huh.
When I'd get burnout. I think it still works, but I digress. Sometimes
Yes,
you
it
just
does.
literally have to get away, watch it.
You are on a timer. You and actually Ashen are both on a timer. I find it amusing that you never change that timer. It's fun.
What's my timer?
I could tell you. That kills all the fun of it. But yeah, you're both on a timer.
I've not been doing anything for a while now. Like the bare minimum I've done is
I know.
barely scratching
It was
anything.
time.
Listen to her.
Yeah, but here's the thing I'm worried about, and at the very least, the story we currently have, I will absolutely finish it up because I started and I'm definitely going to finish it. I worry that once I get done with when I get caught up to where, Onslaught comes out in September, once I get caught up, like, by the end of this month or middle of next, what's the 8th? Yeah, by the end of this month, given how quickly you can go through the content. I don't know if I'll be able to stick around. You
won't be.
I don't think I will, and
you won't be.
And then I think
you don't.
You know why?
You're very tied to the game.
Yeah.
So the moment that you get bored with the game, you have a really hard time staying.
It's
in
Ninja Vanish.
Yeah. And
so I know that when you're starting to go, God, this shit is boring. I know I've got a month.
It's when I start having to grind out fucking tomestones. That's when you're gonna that's when you lose.
Yeah, no, I don't.
And
do that
I'll be honest right now. I'm kind of eyeballing the Final Fantasy 14 because they've had one expansion I didn't play it and the other one just came out. So there's 2 expansions I have time to play. I don't think I would roleplay in Final Fantasy 14 at this point though. I'm pretty sure that ship has sailed for me because I can only take so much.
I think what you need to do, man, is you need to get out. Look around yourself. Do stuff in the real world for a little while.
Oh, I've been doing all sorts of stuff. Dude, I've been exercising.
Oh, good.
That's how bad it's gotten. I've started to exercise.
That's good, though.
Good things. These are
but that just shows how bad the role play has gotten for my interest in it. That I'm like, you know what I'd rather do? Walk.
You should totally work out with your wife, man. I'm telling you.
I'm working towards that. I'm working.
Excellence. See?
Only because I would totally do it now, but she knows my neck problem, which
2 weeks. Take it easy.
2 weeks I've been okay, and I only had one day a couple days ago where I was like, I'm on the verge. I could feel it crawling up the back of my skull and towards my temples, and I'm like, you motherfucker, you better stop it right now. And it was like, sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I'm backing off. I'm sorry. And so,
but yeah,
sometimes when I start feeling like that, that's when I do my combo where I rock 2 different painkillers and I beat it back down with a hammer, and that usually does it. But I
also have my
once
exercises.
It's full bloom, I can't shut it down.
Jazz goes for the drugs.
See, well, and that's the problem. If I can feel it creeping on during the day, I can do that. But my biggest problem is a lot of 90% of the time it happens while I'm sleeping. And I don't know what's happened until it wakes me up at 4:30 in the morning, feeling like I've got somebody cracking eggs inside my head.
Yeah, it was me Friday morning when I woke up. I woke up with a headache at 4:50, 5 o'clock in the morning. I woke up and just laid there and was like, my headache just woke me up. Son of a bitch.
Remember, kids, this is your future. Getting old is not what you thought it would be when you're 10. It sucks. Enjoy
so I got
your
up
youth
and
while it lasts.
I took my aspirin and my Tylenol. The combo usually does it.
And your liver internally is like,
yeah, I know. My liver. If I didn't have, I have a ginormous liver. The doctor was just like, that's the only reason you can abuse it the way you do.
So, but to the point, if you do stuff in real life and go do other things, do activities.
Oh yeah,
and the thing is, I can't do that, so I'm kind of screwed.
Well,
I can't exercise.
You can just go push your kids down. That's always entertaining.
That does not help me.
Anything. I don't mean exercise specifically, but if you
know what you mean.
No, I know what you mean. I'm just saying I don't, because of a lot of things. I don't have a lot of stuff that I can do in the real world.
That's because you live in the
doesn't
middle of
create-
nowhere. It's like a 5-day drive to the nearest settlement.
And I have a lot of social anxiety, and it's hard for me to just
Yeah.
go to something social because then I spend 3 days hiding. So I have fun at the time and then I pay for it later. But let me tell you, kids, if you can avoid getting fibromyalgia, do it. Take care of your body, eat your vegetables. God damn it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't avoid fiber because that's the first word in it. So I'm
That is
assuming that's how
not
it's-
what you should do. It's
You should
exactly the
totally-
opposite.
if you get fibromyalgia by eating too much fiber. You've heard it here first. Listen to me. I'm a doctor.
You are
online.
not.
I role played a doctor once.
Oh, yeah, that counts. Not.
Good enough. Anyway, so moving on. So yeah, time away. Play other things outside the MMO genre, or if you're die hard on it, another MMO, even though again very limited selection. And for me, that's a big part of what I do. I've played through a lot of single player games and old RPGs that I missed. Kind of wanted to play that take 80 hours to play through. Spider-Man was really good. Just different things like that. And hopefully it will go away. Especially these days, binging on TV shows is definitely a good way to go about it.
That is a good way to do it. I'm going through Highway to Heaven right now. I'm checking out the old 80s in the background.
Oh my
crap.
God.
Yep.
Dude.
Wow, you really... It's rough watching those old shows, isn't it? The production.
I love
I
it.
can't do it.
I love it because I look around. I'm like, dude, I remember this when I was a kid. This is kind of awesome.
Well, no, I mean like the production and the film quality of it, oof. Like I watched
It's nostalgia for me.
I watched Babylon 5, and like some of the actors in Babylon 5, like the main cast of people, like Londo and Jakar and Bruce Boxleitner, they're amazing actors. And then they bring in the guy that's in one episode, and it's like, oh, okay, so high school musical play guy apparently made the cut. That was the best they had to offer. So, and going against these great guys, and then the old 90s shots where like, okay, so we need to do a close-up of this guy on this scene because it'll be really dramatic, but we only used a wide-angle shot, so let's just zoom in real close on the film so it gets grainier and grainier the closer we get to him. Like,
Sometimes it's charming.
Man,
I kind of
rough.
enjoy some of
Yeah,
it.
it's charming in a way, but at the same time, you're like, oof, how did we not see that 20 years ago?
Well, think about the TVs back then, man.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and now I'm like I said, I'm watching Battlestar. They don't have any of that stuff. Of course, they have a grain filter on almost anything anyway, so you really can't notice. But it's definitely, you can tell there's a different when TV started to become
I love BSG,
required better stuff. The other one
better
too,
quality for sure.
To maybe help get over it is creative writing of your own, whether fan fiction, maybe make your own stories. Just if you role play because you enjoy, like Jazz does, because you've said that a lot of times, that the creative process and writing, to me it's just another
form of story creation. So I enjoy it because it's instantaneous. You get an instantaneous gratification. You don't have to wait.
You don't have to rely on other people to show up. Right.
You're right. And it does help you be more creative. I've started writing again as well, and Jazz keeps hammering me for more. She's like, write more stuff, and I'm like, dang it, lady.
You're really good at it.
It does help.
You are really good, and I'm not going to give up. So neener.
My goodness. See, you see what I deal with? Anyway, but yes, it is good. It is a good outlet to recharge your battery, just write, because you don't have to deal with the derpheads. You're kind of in control.
Yeah.
And you let it roll. It's fun that way.
Yeah, and
I look at role play as writing in and of itself. It's just an instant gratification thing. But when I write for myself to develop stories, or like I have books that I'm working on as well, you'd get lost in it. I know that when I start writing, I'll look up and it's been 4 hours, and my husband's like, "Baby, you okay in there? You gonna come to dinner?"
Yeah. Well, and when I was just looking it up, make sure, because I was that Scrivener thing you did, which is a great program for writing, by the way.
Yes, it is.
I was writing my own personal thing of, it's like 6,400 words at the moment. I don't know how many pages. I've never written anything that long in my life, but I wanted to write something, so I'd had the idea for years, so I started writing it.
There you go.
And it helped me write that, and I felt really accomplished, even though I haven't finished it, and I really need to finish it. But I think I got to a point where I wasn't sure what something should look like, and then I waffled on it, and then I got froze up.
The great thing is you can come back to it.
Oh yeah, it's still there. So yeah, writing your own stuff. Maybe, who knows? Maybe you'll be the next great 50 Shades of Grey based off your fan fiction, and people will both love and hate
Please
you
don't talk
in the
about
same.
that god awful book.
It's okay.
You're
The
going to
movies,
make me spit fire.
the movies were great though, right? I mean,
No.
what?
No.
Oh,
No.
well,
That's not what Sid said. What?
if you say so, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Of course, then there's also I think this is kind of where I'm at overall. Wait for a better MMO.
Yeah, you're going to be waiting a
It's
while.
a long wait at this point.
There ain't shit out there.
Yeah, there's a few promising ones, but they are on such a distant horizon. They may as well be
They're
in
like
mainland
2 years
China.
away minimum.
Yeah.
I'm just like, holy God. I mean, they're
Yeah.
just like in theory stage, and they're going, oh, and by the way, give us money.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
Star Citizen. I'm
did
looking
that
at you.
once. Y'all can kiss my
Mhm.
entire behind. I'm never doing that again.
No. This one's a little more difficult, and also because even when if you get to the end, you may still not be able to do anything about it. Figure out what the problem is, and if it's something that can be corrected. This one is usually like if you realize, oh, I'm around a bunch of toxic assholes, and they are ruining my fun. That's something you can correct.
Yep.
A lot of if you're just not having fun with just because of the game or.
If you're bored and not having any fun, the first thing you should do is take a look at who you're role playing with and make sure that you're not, in fact, simply surrounded by assholes ruining your day.
Right. Yeah, because you
Totally.
can remove the assholes. I mean,
Yes.
all of them but one. You're going to be stuck with your asshole. But all the other ones you can get rid of.
Really shouldn't talk about yourself that way.
I'm very self-aware.
Okay.
Gosh.
Exceptionally self-aware.
I've had enough wine. I don't care.
Yes, you do.
It's about to be the drunk and saucy hour.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet. I've only had 2 glasses.
Speak up, woman.
With my burnout, it has not really been due to any one particular thing. My burnout
Never
has
is.
been my burnout has been a lot of personal stuff going on, and it's crazy. So that's why I'm having a horrible time getting back into RP. It's
Sometimes
like my brain just doesn't know what I want to do anymore. I told Ashton the other day, I was sitting in there in the living room, and I was that person that just was flicking channels. Oh, that looks good.
Man.
That looks good.
So
yeah,
many
that
options.
looks good. And I just kept going, and finally, like an hour and a half later, I'm like, well,
Time for
I'm going
bed.
to bed.
Dang.
Sucks. I
I've totally
hate it.
done that when I had a TV. Of course, I don't do that anymore because I don't have a TV.
Well, and
But-
these days you can do it too. Like you can be scrolling through the Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon queues
yeah.
of stuff, and it's like you're just looking at icons and like,
There's
oh,
so much stuff.
that's
Yeah.
something I
Yeah.
wanted to see.
I get overwhelmed when I look at Netflix. Hulu's
Yeah.
not as bad.
Yeah,
But-
you're like, oh, I want to see that. Let me keep going there. There might be something I want to see more. No, you know what? At that point, stop. Watch that first thing. Just watch it, and then you get it out of the way. And then the next time you're sitting down, you can do that again, and then on the next thing. Just I think we were going through, and she's like, let's watch. We were gonna let's watch something, and she started doing that. I'm like, no, stop. Pick the first thing you just said. Go back and just do that. Well, what if there's no? Because we're gonna sit here for an
He
hour.
did.
And it's gonna
It's
be
a trap.
time for
Yeah, you have
bed.
to.
Because I do the same. I realized it about me. Let's spend some time together watching something instead of watching the icons fly by as we read movie titles. I think we
Well,
ended up
true
watching
story.
Night of the Comet of all things too,
It's-
which was
that's-
great.
Been my problem here lately. I just cannot focus on any one thing except for running, and that's
And exercise,
the only
yeah.
thing I focus on. But I mean, I tried to play Resident Evil, which I'm still working
7.
on.
Yep.
Yeah, I've tried to play.
To be fair
what
though,
was
that
Zelda?
one does stress you out quite a bit though. So
Well, yeah, because I'm in there yelling at the TV and screaming. But no, I have fun, but it's hard for me to focus on any one thing. Fallout, I still am there, but it's, you know, I really have to make myself sit down and not be like, oh yeah, what was that? Shiny.
I was about to say,
Walking away.
I was about to say I hadn't seen you much in 76 lately. So
Well, that's because of
It's
baseball.
also baseball.
well, yeah, I know, but I mean,
I think I was in game one night this Thursday. Was it Thursday night? I was actually in game.
Yeah, because he went off. Pops took him down there.
Yeah,
and
he went out of
there
town,
was no game.
and I couldn't go. So, but no, it's rough when you're in that situation, and you wish you weren't. You wish you knew how to fix it.
yeah,
But as of right now, I have no clue. I'm like,
you have to do other stuff, man. You got to step away from what your normal routine is, try other stuff, and then once you're like, you'll know when you're ready to role play again. You're like, oh hey, that sounds fun, and then you'll have fun. But until then, it's gonna be a chore. You're gonna log in, you're gonna stand around for 5 minutes and feed, and you're like, why am I here? That was the old days of SWT Burnout.
Feel bad because there was storylines I left in ESO that I'm like,
And you just stop caring.
yeah, it's not that I don't even care because I feel bad, but it's like I just can't
I meant about the
make
story.
myself.
Yeah.
Well, I can't make myself go back to it right now. For some reason, I just have no drive.
And you're not your best when you try to make yourself. It's gonna be worse. So don't.
No, there
do
is
it.
no fake it till you
I
make
think
it in
there-
RP.
I think there's
No,
somebody
there
at the
isn't.
door, babe. I think it's
Oh,
Cody.
hold on.
Sorry, kids.
As he sends his wife to go answer the serious knock on the door.
Well, I have a video camera. I can actually see who it is at the door. You kidding
Well, that's
me?
cool.
I've got security everywhere. I don't trust. As much Halloween decorations I put in the yard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know I have security.
Yeah.
We had one baby stolen. I was like, that's it. I'm getting a fucking camera. So, yeah, I don't want you. But the other, and go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ashton.
Oh, I was gonna say another way to help get over it is friends letting you know that people miss your role play and you, but accept that you are burnt out. So they're being supportive, but not like, well, this story's no longer going on thanks to you not being here. That's not helpful.
Toxic. You don't want to do that to folks.
Yeah. Was Jazz? I don't know. I must have been Sib because you put Jazz on yours. Maybe every now and then you drop in and say hi, and see if anybody gives a shit. Which I know
I'll say every poetry hour they always when they talk to Trath, and it's right before everybody's having their drinks and doing their deal. They're like, "How's the lady Volley?" And Trath's always like, "She's the ranch and a fit to be tied."
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? You don't want to know. And so I leave it mysterious, like, well, when she feels better, we all miss her. And everybody asks about her. So I'm like, yeah, I don't tell them. They don't know you're burnt out unless they listen to the show.
Right.
But, dude, when you're that burnt out, you're not going to do anybody any good being in a game.
No, you just end up being shitty.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I will be. I'm a shitty person. Just I have to tap that down naturally. So. But yeah, and if every now and then, and of course, the thing of it these days too is even if you're burnt out and you're no longer you've basically uninstalled the game where everyone's at. We also have things like Discord. Like even though she's not playing or I'm not playing most of them, I still talk to the people through Discord.
Yeah.
Outside of
it. That's because if your friends are going to be supportive no matter what, and the role play is going to keep going. And sometimes a good long break is nice because you come back and it's fresh and you're like, dude, what's going on? And you get back into it and you're like, oh my gosh, so much has happened. So it could be a good thing as well.
Yep.
And you still write, you still do things. And if your character's involved, someone will ask you permission. Hey, can we do this? They'll tell you yes or no, but don't force yourself to do it because if you do, you're gonna burn the game. Like literally.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, and I've told because I know. My main story on my character was with Strafe. And I've told him he's more than welcome to have complete freedom with my character. The only request is please don't kill her off.
Yeah, that's a trap. I ask your permission anyway. I'm like, no, I ain't going for that.
And that's respectful. And I think we talked about that on one of the recently past shows is how even if you decide to do something with my character, you still ask permission, which
totally.
I think is cool. It shows you're respectful.
But at the same time, you gave him permission. So if he didn't, you'd be like, okay, as long as she's not dead.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But no, I hopefully someday at some point I'll get back.
Yeah, don't worry
Right
about
now it's like
I really think at this point it's going to take for a lot of people too, a new MMO, because I mean, from what I'm hearing on some of the ESO expansion, it's kind of going off like a wet fart in church for a lot of people. They like it seems like the new Necromancer class is great, and people do seem to be enjoying that. But the content itself is okay.
Oh,
So
goodness.
there's always some somebody that doesn't like it because everyone else no.
Boo.
Me personally, again, Necromancer class has no interest for me, but I have heard that people that do play it have enjoyed it. But I've also heard
Yeah.
a lot of people are the content and story itself, like the main quest of it. It's outshined by some of the side quests. It's
And actually, I find the quest itself is interesting. The main quest, story
Mhm.
quest, is interesting, and I like it. And they've certainly put a lot of thought into it.
yeah.
The quest just sucks.
So the
quest,
story,
the class sucks.
oh, the class. Okay.
The class sucks. The quests are fun. The side quests and the story quest. And oh, look, my dog wants in, and my dog's living.
you're fine.
Welcome to
I'm
the show,
That was
Jazz's
kind of
dog.
It was kind of funny because our dog, I could hear him barking in the background. Of course, he's much higher pitched and squeaky. He's like a little squeak toy when you squeeze him.
You know what I would like to have if a new MMO was to come out, like an old Western one. I think that would be fun.
There,
Not like WildStar, not like that.
no, there
But
was
like an old, like kind of like Red Dead Redemption.
Mhm.
I think that would be fun.
there was one
Was there?
just a couple years ago. It
Well,
was
apparently it wasn't good.
awful. It
Well, there
was
you
so
go.
bad.
I said a good one.
Yeah, no, and I actually I kind of think that would be cool too. But this one, yeah, it was super buggy and really awful.
Well, I know I've been hung up on the fantasy stuff. Like I loved ESO,
Mm-hmm.
and I always said I would go back to it whenever it first came out, and we left to go
Yeah.
play something. I can't remember what. But I always said I'd go back
Well,
to
it
it,
was
and
so
I did.
buggy at the start too. Yeah.
But like I said, with everything that's gone on with me personally, and a lot of changes have happened with me, I just couldn't stay with it. But
Mhm.
I think maybe, I don't know. I think I'm getting away from the fantasy aspect of things and having, more just human based RP
Mm-hmm.
would be.
Maybe you burn out on the high fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be. Maybe
Well, and
that's
so
the
many of
problem.
them are high fantasy. It's easy.
Yeah.
It would be easy to happen.
But one that would just have basic humans, you have different, not different races, but different
Yeah.
classes. Is Age of Conan that way? Do they have different races or
Well,
different?
I mean, yeah. I mean, they just
do they have lizard people and stuff? Maybe I should check that out.
No. Age of Conan was just humans and got black, white, Asian kind of.
Well, different races.
It's
Yeah.
standard in the
Yeah.
time before the oceans drank Atlantis.
But unfortunately, the rest of the game is
Garbage.
Yeah. not really supported
they got us the
anymore.
first time on Conan, and I was like,
Yeah.
no,
And now, and Exiles is nothing like Age of Conan, which was good for a time, but it's one of those games that it wasn't great at the time because of the company that makes it does not make stable games. I think it was Funcom.
and then they tried to
Yeah.
balance it, which ruined a lot of it. And then people,
Mhm.
left. There you go.
Yep. But
Don't
yeah,
play Conquer, folks.
yeah. So another thing, maybe if you at least want to try to get back and read the stories people post. Of course, this one's getting more difficult as very few people are writing stories and posting them online
Yeah.
a lot of times in most guilds. But that might help. Try to be part of a community or of the community, which isn't always easy. But do things like you go to events that you're not in charge of, or take part in stories not your own. Like go into if you're an ESO, go into Kitty's tea house. And I don't-
Random laid back RP
yeah, and,
is what I would say. Nothing, too intense. Just kind of do some random stuff.
and maybe in a setting more like a player-run tavern than the basic like the fleet or Goldshire, if you're in World of Warcraft, or any of the Rift or Riften, if the main haunts where you never really know what you're gonna get, because usually if you go to something that's like a player run tavern like Kitty's or something like that in your game, the people there they're tuned in enough to actually know that that's a thing. So you're gonna have a lot less RP trolls because they know the main haunts, but they're typically not going deep enough to find those kinds of things, and that might help. Let's see here, and for something that was put, usually to burnout comes from overwhelming feelings and trying to do too much on your own. Jazz added this one because this is something that she has definitely done before. I'm thinking this was an experience thing, Jazz. Usually if you focus on other people's stories, helping and being part of something larger than your own typical ideals, it will shift the burnout and push you into another healthier
That's what saved
direction.
me.
Yeah. And really,
Going to an Ericus' storyline, we did last year, just some of his random adventures helping out Rufus, just being his minion. Hey, boss, you sure you want to burn the village down? Burn it down, Rufus. Okay, but if we do the evil thing, you will have the bad nightmares. Burn it down, Rufus. Okay, this one does not judge. It's fun. Get the simple, right?
Yeah. Sorry. So, yeah, it helping, being part of stuff and helping people out. I mean, that's why we kind of do the show, is we wanted to help other people out. So that's where we kind of part of the enjoyment of it. Even though I may not be over the top and head over heels in love with roleplay at the moment, I still like helping other people maybe find it and stick with it. It's just a personal thing with me.
Yeah.
And Sib and Yunfei. And so most like 3 out of 5 of us.
Sad face. I didn't make the list. I'd never make the list.
Well, that's because you're still role-playing.
I know.
I mean, you have to stop role-playing. Jazzy's not going to role-play anymore so he can be on my list.
But it was only Tuesday. I didn't do anything else the rest of the week. Does that count?
No, because you said you had other real-life stuff, and real life comes first. It has to be the fact that you could have been there, but you chose not to.
I see. So I have to be the hermit.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
You got to crab it. And going real quick here too, and what won't help a lot of people get over it, this goes for both outside influences and you personally doing this, pushing through it. Sometimes that might work. It could work. Typically, if you're in that
dangerous.
grumpy mode, it's you're gonna end up getting more burnt out, or you're gonna be real shitty to people. We've seen people try it. I've tried to do it myself, and really when it turns what would have been a basic little snuff, a little burnout, you probably could have gotten over in a couple weeks into like a full on tactical nuke of not being fun to be around.
Yeah, it never works well.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's hit or miss. Most time it's a miss.
Quit highlighting whoever's doing that. You're driving me out of my mind. I can't focus.
I'm not doing it. It's totally
I
not
just
me.
wanted to say that on the thing
Sorry.
you said about becoming overwhelmed.
Someone's being a troll.
Does it? She's a boss, because I would be like out of my freaking mind if I took on half the stuff she does in RP. I mean, just dealing with people, I would be like,
I don't have time for you anymore.
I'm going to kill you all. I'm going to kill you all now.
Well, for the people who have to talk to me when I am having a bad day, I basically say that.
I am the angel of death.
I will kill them all. I'm done. I'm never doing this again. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how
okay
many
now.
times I've seen that phrase written out by Jazz. I'm done. It's been done a couple times. She's been done multiple times.
As my dude in EverQuest used to say, just kill them, Empress, and then she'll no longer trouble you. Yes, Rengots, but the dead don't learn. Yes, Empress, but the dead do not trouble you either. Rengots, go away.
Yeah,
You're not helping.
You always tempt her.
You're not helping.
Yeah, I did. I was hoping one day she'd just go on a spree and kill half the guild, and I would help her. She'd never do it.
Well, yeah, because you can't play or kill people.
Well, yeah.
Metagamer.
But if the boss ate their face,
You're
I
a
mean,
bad
what are they
role
gonna say,
player.
no? Yeah, whatever.
But it's Jess. I don't know how you do it. I kudos. Yeah, I take
Well,
my hat off to you, lady.
You
'Cause
know,
I
it's
am
probably
like-
got something to do with whatever the reason is I do what I do for a living as well. And actually, it's part of the reason why I pursued this job in the first place was because I figured I was so good at it in a game, maybe I should do it for a living. And I chanced across it, and I sweet talked my way into the position with zero experience.
Yeah,
And,
wasn't it that you just got lucky that the guy that was also a gamer?
Yeah,
So at least
Yeah.
he actually understood where you were coming from.
he asked me if I had any experience, and I said I do, but you're probably gonna laugh. And he was like, "No, I'll just humor me. Answer the question. I have a feeling this is gonna be fun." And so I told him that I'd managed a guild, a roleplay guild no less, for 15 years in one form or another. And he stared at me and he's like, "Wow, that's a lot of drama."
Yeah.
And I looked at him and he goes, "Total gamer here. I don't roleplay, but I've heard stories about role players. You get kudos from me. Tell you what, I'll give you a chance. Let's
Yep.
see how you do this job." So
Dang.
if I hadn't mentioned that
Mhm.
I managed a roleplay guild for 12 years, I don't think I would have gotten this job
Yeah.
because I didn't have experience. I had no social work experience
Right.
at all.
Other than
I had a 4-year degree,
other
but it was
than
in art.
wrangling cats. Yeah.
But I'd been wrangling cats and handling drama in guilds and interpersonal relationships with varying groups of people
Yeah.
that are high drama and mentally ill, to such a degree that he was like, "I think you can do this job." And he's right. I'm excellent at it. So,
Know your strengths.
yeah,
Yep.
know
He
your
was just-
strengths. And I found something that I wish I could make money doing just running guilds. I'm really good at it. But this is as close as I'm ever going to get. So.
That's right.
But remember, Jazz, you've had enough. Not in the real world, just in game. Just in game.
Yep.
Done. So another thing that really doesn't help people get over it, and this typically comes from the people around them, not them themselves, because you can't pester yourself. People pestering someone to come back and being passive aggressive.
Yeah, that's never good.
Yeah, little clue when you're dealing with Strafe. Don't ever do that. That's
talking
a
about?
really good way to make him never come back.
Dig it.
Instead, say, I understand. Stay away as long as you want. We'll go okay without you. This storyline's been a lot of fun, though. You want to hear about it?
We didn't need you anyway. Nobody misses you.
Mhm.
That's see the difference. What she said to what I said. There's that's go off of what she said. This is the counterpoint to the other one of
He said, she said.
literally.
It's always Jazz baiting me back.
It's the opposite of the one where we said, friends letting you know that people miss your role play and maybe keeping them abreast of the stories going on and being supportive, as opposed to the passive aggressive. Well, I didn't really enjoy your role play anyway, so it's not really that big of a loss.
Case in point,
Oh.
the way Jazz handled it and the way somebody else handled it. You should come back because my character's gonna start dating so and so if you don't come back. Well, guess what, lady? I'm not
That's
coming
like
back for a month.
Pressing buttons.
You're just slapping buttons. We lost the sib for there for a second. Yeah, and yeah. If you, that's the whole I broke up with my ex. Now I'm gonna try to be with this person over here to see if they get jealous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's stupid.
They're your ex. It's not gonna work out well for you. So
Don't. But there's people who'll do that because they.
Oh,
want-
yeah.
The thing is a lot of people that play role play in
Here it
games
comes.
are very, very lonely people who are very isolated in real life, and they get to play pretty people who get pretty sex and have pretty relationships and have instant children and have no real problem, and they have money to burn. And it's a very
I
intoxicating
don't need you to describe
mix
me like
of-
this on air, in such detail. It's not appreciated.
Hey man,
And
you're
so,
pretty with that NCR shirt.
It's a
Don't let
very
anybody tell you that.
intoxicating mix of poison in a way to get them to want to do this, and so they're trying to recreate. That's the important thing, I think, as a guild leader, and what I've had guild leaders come and say, what do I do here? And that's what I always tell them. Look, this is what you're dealing with, and if you can't deal with that, then you need to get the hell out and run, because this is never going to get any better. These people are always going to be here. They're lonely, they need help, they need an ear, and they need patience. And if you can't do that, you won't last long. Every person I've ever known that's like, if I ran this guild, there'd be none of this.
I'd kick them all out, which I've said before. And I, of course, I actually mean it. I actually would kick some of them out. At least the repeat offenders. They would not have.
But the reality is that if you run your guild that way, you have 6 people. Now, granted, you have 6 people you like, and there's something to be said for that. But if you want a large group of role players, you have to have some patience with the crazy folks, and there's nothing wrong with being crazy. We're all crazy in our own way. And particularly people that play role players.
I feel you.
I mean, look at actors. Actors are all nuts. Have you ever noticed that? They're all crazy because you'd have to be to pretend to be somebody else for a living and be good at it.
Well, look at one of the ones that, of course, it's heartbreaking, but Robin Williams. I totally, he's so off the wall and so over the place, but he had a lot of really dark time. Obviously, he ended up killing himself. And I completely understand that. I come on here, here or when I'm around people and I could do this and that. And then when I'm by myself, I'm like, this is not a good place to be. We should not be here.
Part of it for poor Robin Williams, he had so many ex-wives, and he was an endless debt slave. He had to keep making stuff, or he'd be in jail.
Yeah, when in his mind, just I don't think someone like that. You just can't. Some people they can't shut down. They can't shut their head off, and they can't get out of their own way. And and a lot of those people tend to have the talents towards.
People that have trouble with reality are going to be fantastic at acting.
Fantasy.
I mean, that's
or in our case, at fantasy, or
right.
writing.
And that's the same thing. Yeah. I mean, and that's the important thing to remember, that a lot of times when you start dealing with someone and you're having a problem, you need to have that conversation both with yourself and with them, because you may discover they don't even know that this is fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a person point blank tell me she didn't understand why this guy had other tunes and had relationships with other people, because he married her character first, and that meant that they were married. And doesn't the sanctity of marriage matter to him?
Oh gosh!
Now this is the conversation that we
Run
had.
away.
Did you hear that blend? I mean, it became her character and him to all of their characters, because they were actually married in real life. And that blend,
that mix,
is easy to do, especially if you're lonesome. Or you are alone.
It's like mixing Play-Doh colors together. Once that starts to blend, you're not getting that brown smudge out.
It just happens. And it's easy to do, especially when, sex and ERP create this artificial intimacy that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
And people are addicted to that.
Yeah, it's dopamine level in your head.
Yeah, and it's amazing what people can do and go through when they're addicted to that. But at the same time, as someone who has ERP'd in a great amount of things,
amount of things. Oh, Jazz.
But to me, it's no different than watching a porno. I don't get any. You're
not emotionally attached to the pizza boy.
But
right.
Not to be mean, I'm not emotionally attached to anyone but my kids and my husband. So, and I had to work at that, by the way.
Their grades.
Yeah.
Grades.
I'm in therapy for a reason. I have issues with that. So I'm not going to be the person that gets attached to a role play, because to me, it's just a costume I can take off.
Yeah.
And there's no difference to me. And I accept that. My shrink says it's mostly healthy, I think. His words.
Kishma says some of the things I hear y'all say boggles the mind. I'm pretty sure he's referring to the woman you were talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah.
It really it's.
But I've had conversations with people who flat out believe that they are married to this person in real life because they're married in a game, and
or that
level of attachment that they have. And that's why I tell people, if you're with somebody and then their next tune you're with them, and then their next tune you're with them,
Which that's
You have more than 2 tunes crossing that bridge, you're in trouble.
And this is that's what you're talking about right there. Just that was the next topic that Sib we're gonna cover next week, was attaching your characters to each other, to even a single person or multiple people, both the benefits and the pitfalls of that. Because
that'll be a fun
there's
topic.
a lot of them,
Yes.
It really can. So
but it can also be incredibly rewarding, and you can meet. I mean, Rengots and I had a 10-year relationship with our characters.
So
his character and my character.
That long?
So when did you guys get
Yeah,
divorced?
it was 10 years. That's longer than most people are married.
It was longer than my first marriage.
That is true.
And we had this incredible, intense relationship, hate-love relationship. These two characters were just twisted and awful. But
it was
him
a good
and
story.
I had this story that was incredibly intense, and a lot of people tried to screw that up because they were upset by it.
Yeah. And did you get together all the time? No. Any more than I've gotten
and
along
he had
with
his
any
own
of you
tunes,
guys
and
all the
I had
time.
my tunes, and well, you remember when Vakarina was married to Xanis, she still had a thing with Rengots on the side.
Yeah.
And they didn't like each other.
And I hated him for it. I just hated him.
But Sealy, we were all friends.
Wife.
So it began.
And you would be maybe you'd be surprised, maybe you wouldn't. How many people thought that Rengots and Xanis hated each other for real?
Oh no, that would I and what's funny is they hated each other long before that.
Oh, yeah.
And that just increased it, but
yeah.
At the same time,
like,
obviously Strafe and I are
Tilder
okay.
and
Saber?
Greiger and Vaca had a screwed up thing, and everybody assumed that Tilder was Tilder's an ass in real life. But he played
he's
his
like my brother
vampire
from another
perfectly.
mother.
Yeah,
guys are asses in real life.
Someone asked Ren one time, they're like, "Hey, she's marrying Greiger, and I know you love her to death. She's playing around with this vampire lord. What are you going to do about it, Rengots?" And Rengots is sitting in his throne in the web going, "I'm going to do nothing. May they all burn equally.
I hope
Whoever lives, I will end them. This is what I'm waiting for."
I hope you have thousands
Are you really
of fat
waiting for that?
children.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, are you really waiting for that? It's like, yes, I'm waiting for somebody to kill the other. When they're weak, then I'll move in.
Yeah.
Until then, let them burn each other to the ground.
Yep.
But no, yeah, I'm really not surprised because they could not.
And,
you couldn't resolve the fact that our characters really, they did hate each other. They would needle each other. They would poke at each other. They would actually.
Most of the officers in my
were
guild
less a
hated each
spar
other. It was
than an
hilarious.
actual fight. you
Yeah.
know? But
Rengots blew up Tilder's wife.
she
No, it
had
didn't.
it coming. Look how she was.
Maka could never prove it, but she knew he did
This
it,
sounds
and
like-
I never
This
could.
sounds like
I see
slander,
prove it.
Strafe. I don't think you need to sit here and take this anymore. I'm on your side, man. You don't need to sit here.
Man,
and take
this is all hearsay, and this
conjecture.
is
It's
defamation
conjecture.
of characters is libel. I mean, if someone comes to you and asks for a device, you don't ask them what they're going to do with the device. You just help them along their way. You get well paid.
You knew damn good and well what he was going to do with that, you ass.
You can't help
There's-
what people do with it. I mean,
I personally, if I was in your position, I would have assumed rock quarrying. I mean, they were just mind blasting. That's all it was. I mean, what else would you do with that? So anyway, major life changes can seem to make these things worse. Like it doesn't help you get over it. It's if something drastic change, deaths in the family, financial situations chains. Financial situations are like chains. Change, shifts in job. That's a big one I've seen. It really
Moving.
Yeah, moving. There's all sorts of real life major life changes that can take something that's just a minor like this is okay to I would really rather eat a bag of snakes than log in and roleplay right now.
That's something I would never say.
No, I believe you couldn't get away with saying that. Really, he can't either. But I'm
no,
like,
snakes scare the hell out of me. No, snakes and spiders, yeah. Also werewolves and vampires and tiny dogs.
Of which you have two.
Like tea size, the little tea size.
Oh, the little tiny ones.
Like little. The ones that
the things that shouldn't exist.
The ones that shake when you look at them.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't like those. Only because I'm a mailman, and those are the ones that are gonna fucking bite you.
The minute you turn your back.
Seriously, they're.
I just want to step on them. Like I don't know why. I just want they're so shaky and like aggressive. It's, dude, I'll step on you. See how much barking and shaking you're gonna do now, sucker. You know, I know you can't. But...
Remember, send all your PETA complaints to Straffe at
That's right. We kill it and grill it down here.
That's right. And put it on this here. Refusing to branch out and challenge yourself.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big one. Sometimes branching out and challenging yourself could be like, oh, that was a horrible idea. I really, really wish I hadn't done that. And other times you really have to play it by ear. I mean, all these things, it's all very, very subjective because no one person's, brain is the same. None of their wants are ever the same. None of their tolerances or lack thereof, in some cases, mine, is ever the same. When it really comes down to it, I'm choking on air and about to kill myself, apparently, by swallowing my own spit down my windpipe.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that's bad. There's no magic bullet for getting over what's kind of mental fatigue of doing the same thing. And Jazz put it in it's boredom on crack. And when it happens, you just need to shift. And she says not stop doing what you love, but there are times I think, that is true, but if you stop loving it, don't keep pushing yourself into trying to love something because you love the memory of what you used to like.
Well, no, I think that's important, but I'm saying that a lot of times we abandon things that we like because it's difficult or because we've made a shitty decision, and we like
you
a friend
don't
of
think
mine,
you can come back from something that was like
right.
embarrassing.
A friend of mine lost their role play
buddy,
significant other. And they left, and they've never come back
because they were
their character.
We're all tied to each other. This is where next episode. That's right. Yeah. No, you're right.
And you can't. And I told him that, because he was like, "Well, this always happens. Stop ERPing." There are some people who really shouldn't ERP because they are, like my son, attracted to psychos. And I've warned him about this already. I'm like, hon, some men are attracted to sweethearts who love them and support them. And some men are attracted to harlots. And you need to understand you're attracted to crazy harlots. And you need to be a little more careful.
That's just slander against Evil Lynn types. Come on now.
I don't mind Evil Lynn. She wasn't a harlot. I'm talking about girls that, cheat on you and lie to you, and then you just keep going back. And it's
Yep, I know the one you're talking about.
After you get a couple girls like that, you might want to, that's what I told my son. The first one, maybe it's a fluke. The second one, maybe you're unlucky. The third one, you need to stop and take a look in the mirror and figure out what you're doing to attract that, because it's not just them. And that's what I tell people who burn out. If this has happened more than once or twice in your role play history, you need to take a look at what you're doing to bring it on. Because it's not just them. It's also you.
Well, I mean, like for me, it's been 20 years now. So a couple burnouts, usually it's at the end of a game's lifespan. But if it's a couple times in like a couple months, you're probably, again, Jazz, as someone once said, very popular fellow. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you're once, twice, three times a lady. That's right.
What in the world?
He's just acting like Bush.
I know.
What? No, that was my crazy Uncle Jed.
No,
Tacos. Man,
you gotta watch. You gotta watch who you attract. That is true.
Yeah.
But if you role play a certain character, those people will find you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I've learned
that is true. Like Rengots doesn't attract people like that, but because he plays often in very evil characters like Rengots, he's going to attract a certain kind of person, and knowing that ahead of time is important.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are, depending on the role play type, you're going to attract different people of a different spectrum of mindset, which is probably
Which is why I'm so
actually
burnt out
good
of those
topic.
characters.
Mm-hmm.
People are asking me, hey, and this is why like last year when I was so indignant and I almost quit ESO the first time, people were like, they kept pressuring me to play an evil character. Boy, we liked when you played Rengots. I'm like, dude,
But I don't
forget
want
you
to play-
guys.
yeah.
I'm so burnt out of that. No.
There's
And
another
this is why I'm
way
Go
to
ahead,
get
bro.
that's what you said. Actually, I didn't put that in there. I don't think we really put it in there. But try playing a different type of character. Like you said, you were tired of playing the evil guy because it's hard. And it was burning you out. So you kind of played a good guy. That still had depth and all that stuff, but he wasn't the He-Man.
And he had a lot
thing.
of people pressuring him to play evil characters again. And Traff is just pretending he's really evil, right? And
everybody was hitting me with that. I'm like, dude, shut up.
Stop.
Seriously.
No, that's what the evil stepbrothers for.
Yeah.
And even
well,
then,
I think we
not.
kind of came up with that for a differerent reason.
I didn't make him exactly Rengots like either.
No,
that was the point. I'm like, no, I'm not
something.
doing that.
Yeah, try don't, and I don't know how many times we've seen that happen from game. It goes game to game to game. The same person plays nearly the exact
can they please
same
just
See
have
that?
a little imagination? Yeah,
That will burn
bad.
you as a player out as well because you're gonna go, okay, we're
It's-
going here. I know some friends. Oh, they're playing the same dude.
Especially if
here?
you're using the exact same name game to game to game. I think there's. Honestly,
Yeah,
I don't know
get
if
that.
I've ever used the same. I've used the same name in other games, like just name him Xanis because it's easy, but it's a single player game or one I'm not going to be role playing in. It's just a name off the top. It's easy, but I don't think I've ever recreated. Other than Tarvala was the only one, and that was because in EverQuest 2, she was barely used, and I liked the name, so I reused it in ESO. But the characters themselves were completely different people. The name was the same.
Even your Age of Conan dude was different, and I made that mistake. You call your buddy out, and it's not the OC chat, and I was like, someone told me that was your tune. I was like, it's freaking Xanis, and then Jazz jumped on my butt and tells, don't say that. I was like, dude, sorry, I think it's cool. And it was like, yeah, it was on a mistake, but yeah, you had a different name. I totally didn't know it was you until someone told me. I was like, oh, hey, that's cool.
Yeah,
and I got elation because that dude's a solid role player. I could trust that. But because I didn't know anybody else in that group, so it's excitement when you're in a new place and people got different names. But when you have the same crap and you're playing the same archetype, you will start that burnout will creep into the new game.
It goes and it comes it definitely seems to increase the speed of which it comes exponentially too. When you've already played the same character already, but now you're starting from scratch on top of all that. Unless, of course, you're doing the so-ingenious thing of no, this is my character who is from Earth, from the other game. Or, I'm from Eorzea, but I remember everything. Like, Jazz, I know, Jazz, you've done that, but your characters never remember from game to game. It's like, it's your own...
I have characters that are recreations of other characters with a different name, but
it's
they don't
like
remember it.
It's a reincarnation. It's your own mental...
it's my mental lore,
it's your
but
head
that's
canon,
it.
Is what they call it.
Yeah, it's my head canon. It's not anything that I'm ever going to bring into game.
But there are plenty of people that, like, I remember, they could be in ESO. I remember seeing King Conan come down the stairs. It's like, oh, no, please. Or the one guy that was like, I remember the towers falling on 9/11 in EverQuest 2.
Oh, gosh, that guy. Just say no. Say no to that dude.
But, like all this really wraps up. You have to be honest with yourself. There really is no wish or magic bullet to get over it. It's a multitude of things, and you really just, in the end, being honest with yourself is really the only way you're gonna get over it. And maybe you won't get over it, and it's just your time is done. We know several people that have just moved on. Tilder and Sabri, they as far as I know, they don't really role play at all anymore. Not that I
haven't seen him in years, man.
We still talk to them on OOC and Facebook and other things, but they've been out of role play for probably a decade now. It seems, at least give or take. And
checked out, man.
Yeah, and they've just moved on to other stuff in their life, which is perfectly fine. Nothing has to last forever. I mean, people build model airplanes as kids, or they realize that all that glue is not as much fun as they used to think because they can move on to things like cracking horse. So,
Dang,
but,
that was a dark turn.
What? Oh, only until you start losing your teeth. Before that, it's awesome. Not that I would know personally. My
Dang.
problem is with the needles. There you go. Got to get that vein.
Dubious clap.
That was a good.
That is definitely a dubious clap, man.
That was
If I didn't see the picture or the
that's
camera,
right.
I'd think you were
You gotta-
dubious
you gotta
clapping.
Tweak it. See that right there? That track mark? That's totally from me getting blood drawn. But still, I'm gonna go with it. It's horse. I've been to San Francisco lately. I got to poop in the streets. It was awesome. So anyway, we're gonna end the show now.
I think we've killed the topic.
We have.
successfully.
I'm going on to pooping in the streets and doing crack cocaine. So yeah, it's probably time to move.
I think we're ready to call it into this. Yeah.
You think so? Think that's it?
Yeah, I think we're done.
I think we did.
All right. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in. Remember, rpmmradio.com/Discord if you want to join our Discord server. Twitch.tv/rpmmradio if you want to
Thanks
follow
for
us.
coming.
And I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and especially my crew, Jazz, Sibs, Trefay, Yunfei, and Rahanar. I'm sorry they had to duck out early. They had something come up, but we hope everything's good.
Bye.
So
Good
with that, tune in
night,
next time
people.
when we'll go over why halflings shouldn't be burnt out, just burned up. Just like literally just burn them alive. I'm good with it. It's okay. Next time on RPMMO Radio. Good night. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music. Good night, Razor's Edge at the very end. Bye.